Chapter 487. Then the other officials started to flatter the Heavenly King one after another. The Heavenly King couldn't stop smiling. He felt like he was about to fly into the sky. Now that the Burning Sun Empire had no more suspense, his position as the Emperor of the Burning Sun Empire was more or less secured. Who cared if he was a puppet of the Decimo sword faction? As long as he was sitting on the throne, he could enjoy himself without restraint. Heavenly King Suppression hugged the two beauties on his left and right. His palms wandered around the two beautiful girls. Just as he was enjoying himself, a burly man in iron armor rushed in anxiously. "Your Majesty, your Majesty, bad news! Bad news!" the burly man shouted. Heavenly King Suppression was instantly displeased. His face darkened as he shouted coldly, "Su Feng, why are you in such a panic? Can't you see that I am holding a banquet for the officials to discuss important matters of the Empire? If you are so flustered, how are you going to follow me to conquer the Empire and dominate the world? You are a disgrace to me. Men, drag Su Feng away and flog him 100 times as a warning to others." Heavenly King Suppression waved his hand. Two tall guards strode forward and walked toward Su Feng. Your Majesty, let me finish. There is urgent news from the front lines. The Decimo sword faction and the Sun Legion were annihilated in the battle with the Mystic Essence sword faction. Qiu Weiyang and Tro Changkong are dead. Su Feng hurriedly roared. Silence! Everyone fell silent. The dancing girls seemed to have frozen in their movements. The civil and military officials were about the same. Their movements froze. Some of them were drinking wine, but the wine almost poured into their nostrils. Heavenly King Suppression opened his mouth and looked at Su Feng in a daze. Then his pupils dilated and his body began to tremble. He asked with a trembling voice, Su Feng, are you serious? If I find out that you are lying to me, I will kill your entire family. It's true, Your Majesty. A general of the Decimo sword faction was lucky enough to survive. The news reached me through multiple voice transmission talismans. Su Feng said loudly. Clang! The purple jade cup in Heavenly King Suppression's hand fell to the ground and shattered. His face was pale without a trace of blood. First, his lips began to tremble. Then his entire body began to tremble. How could this be? How could this be? With the Decimo sword faction's strength, how could they kill Qiu Weiyang and the others? Heavenly King kept muttering in disbelief. It's the Marquis Champion. The Marquis Champion is back. He easily killed all the experts from Omnidirectional Sword Faction and Solar Core. Su Feng said. Looming, it's actually him. I knew it long ago. I can't let him live. Heavenly King Suppression. Heavenly King. Retreat, count the troops. Take all the treasures and bring. Take all the treasures, all. Heavenly another. Don't you think it's too late to leave? They were looming, and Hua Qi, Heavenly King Suppression's face turned pale when he saw Hua Qi and looming. He looked at the two people in the sky in horror. Old man, today is the day you die. I'll take your head and offer it to my father's soul in heaven. Hua Qi's eyes turned red when he saw Heavenly King Suppression. He was filled with hatred. Kill them. Heavenly King Suppression roared. Whoosh, whoosh. 6 figures rushed out from the crowd. Each of them exuded the aura of a martial ancestor realm 9th realm. Heavenly King Suppression had secretly recruited 6 martial ancestor realm 9th realm experts. He was extraordinary. What champion, Marquis? Die! A middle-aged man with a cold and vicious face slashed at Lu Ming with his saber. At the same time, the other 5 people appeared. In an instant, the world became extremely violent. Spiritual qi was boiling. Various sword qi and saber energy blasted at Lu Ming. 6 martial ancestor realm 9th realm experts joining forces. Even a large city would be destroyed in an instant. Die, die. Heavenly King Suppression's eyes were filled with hope. Clown! Lu Ming said calmly. He stood in the air, motionless. Lightning flashed in his eyes. Then 6 bolts of lightning shot out from his eyes. Bang! Bang! 6 crisp sounds were heard. The 6 martial ancestor realm 9th realm experts, under Heavenly King Suppression, turned into ashes and disappeared from the world. Bang! Heavenly King Suppression sat on the ground. His body trembled uncontrollably, and it was several times more intense than before. The other civil and military officials were not much different. They looked at Lu Ming in horror. In their eyes, the invincible martial ancestor realm 9th realm experts were turned into ashes by Lu Ming's glare. It was unbelievable. It was the work of a deity. It was not something that could be defeated by a human. The champion marquis is invincible. Your servant Gao Chuan welcomes the champion marquis and the 8th prince back to the palace. Suddenly, a crafty-looking official shouted from below. He looked at Lu Ming and Hua Qi flatteringly. Lu Ming and Hua Qi were slightly startled. The champion marquis, 8th prince, you don't know. I've always been loyal to the late emperor. I endured the humiliation and stayed by Heavenly King Suppression's side. My goal was to wait for the 8th prince to come back one day. The heavens have eyes. 8th prince, you're finally back. Gao Chuan shouted with a flattering face. Damn it, this Gao Chuan is really quick to change his mind. The other civil and military officials gritted their teeth. Oh, from what I know, you were the first to surrender when Heavenly King Suppression attacked the imperial capital. You even opened the city gates and let Heavenly King Suppression's army in. Hua Qi sneered. Gao Chuan's expression changed drastically. He forced a smile and said, 8th prince, you've misunderstood. There's no need to explain to me. Go and explain to my father. Slash. Hua Qi unsheathed his sword and cut Gao Chuan in half. Old man, it's your turn now. Hua Qi looked at Heavenly King Suppression. Qi, I'm your uncle. We're related by blood. I beg you, please let me go this time. Heavenly King Suppression shouted. Let you go? Ha ha ha, what a joke. Back then, when you killed my father, why didn't you think that he was your blood relative? Now, you're actually saying the word blood relative. You're simply shameless. Hua Qi's eyes were like lightning as he pointed his sword at Heavenly King Suppression. No, protect me. Guards, protect me. Heavenly King Suppression shouted crazily. However, no one moved. Everyone sat there in silence, not moving at all. Chapter 488. Hua Qi, kill him. Lu Ming nodded at Hua Qi at the same time. A surge of true qi flowed into Hua Qi's body. Instantly, Hua Qi felt his body brimming with energy. Go to hell, you old man. Hua Qi shouted as he charged at Heavenly King Suppression. You're the one who's going to die. Heavenly King Suppression saw that there was no way out. He waved his hand, and a broad battle sword appeared in his hand as he slashed at Hua Qi. Heavenly King Suppression's cultivation was not weak. He had reached the 7th martial ancestor realm. Hua Qi was only a 9th martial grandmaster and had not reached the martial ancestor realm. However, Hua Qi's sword contained Lu Ming's true qi. True qi was many times stronger than true qi. Furthermore, it was Lu Ming's true qi. Slash. Hua Qi's sword had destroyed all of Heavenly King Suppression's attacks. He had split Heavenly King Suppression's sword and body in half. Heavenly King Suppression was dead. Ha ha ha, father, did you see that? I finally avenged you. Hua Qi knelt on the ground and laughed. Tears flowed down his cheeks as he laughed. It was as if he wanted to release all of the hatred that had accumulated in his heart. Lu Ming did not say anything as he watched quietly from the side. Hua Jie, don't go. Suddenly a loud shout was heard. Lu Ming smiled when he saw it. It turned out that Hua Jia wanted to take the opportunity to escape, but was caught by some ministers. Now that Heavenly King Suppression was dead, how could these officials be loyal to him? They wanted nothing more than to dig out their hearts and confess to Hua Qi. How could they let Hua Jia escape? No, let me go, let me go. Hua Jia screamed in horror. Hua Jia, I'll send you to accompany your father. Hua Qi's sword dripped with blood as he walked towards Hua Jia. Don't kill me, no. Hua Jia screamed. Then the stench filled the air. This guy was so scared that he peed his pants again. Hua Qi's eyes were filled with killing intent. The sword in his hand flashed, and Hua Jia stopped screaming. Eighth Prince, I welcome the Eighth Prince back to the palace. I welcome the Eighth Prince back to the palace. All of the civil and military officials knelt down. Hua Qi's gaze was like lightning as he looked around. Everyone kept quiet out of fear, not even daring to breathe loudly. They were afraid that Hua Qi would kill them. The atmosphere at the scene seemed to have frozen. After a while, Hua Qi said, You guys gather the troops and capture all of Heavenly King Suppressing's allies, troops and families. Hua Qi didn't kill these people. Although these people were despicable, they still needed to rely on them if he wanted the Burning Sun Empire to continue running. If he killed them all, who would help him? Yes, yes, I will do it right away. Eighth Prince, leave this matter to me. The civil and military officials scrambled to agree, and then hurriedly went to carry out the orders. What a joke! This was a good opportunity to express her feelings to Hua Qi, who would miss it. Very soon, some of the ministers with large military forces retreated. The rest of the people were weak civil officials. They looked at Hua Qi and Lu Ming anxiously. Marquis Champion, please. Hua Qi waved his hand and said to Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled and sat at a table casually. As for Hua Qi, he sat at Heavenly King's suppressing seat. The women knelt at the side and trembled. The civil officials also knelt on the ground and waited. Time passed, and the imperial capital was in chaos. Countless troops ran and surrounded Heavenly King Suppressing's henchmen. There were battles everywhere. Whoosh! Whoosh! Not long after, Lin Shui and the others arrived and appeared in the sky. Sect leader Lin, send people to help clear out Heavenly King Suppressing's henchmen. Lu Ming said to Lin Shui. Okay. Lin Shui nodded. Then hundreds of martial ancestor experts scattered around the imperial capital to help clear out Heavenly King Suppressing's henchmen. With the help of these experts, Heavenly King Suppressing's henchmen and those loyal to him were quickly killed. The entire imperial capital was filled with killing. Many ordinary people knew that the imperial capital was going to change again. From now on, the imperial capital was going to have a new ruler. When many people knew that it was the Eighth Prince who had returned, they were very happy. They didn't have a good time under Heavenly King Suppressing's rule. One day later, the battle in the imperial capital was over. The imperial capital had completely fallen into Hua Qi's hands. 2 days later, the Red Blood cavalry arrived and helped Hua Qi take control of the imperial capital. He would leave the rest to Hua Qi. Lu Ming could not be bothered with him. Sect leader Lin, it's time to go to the Shifeng sword sect. Lu Ming said to Lin Shui in a courtyard. Okay. Lin Shui's eyes flashed with madness and anticipation. He had waited for this day for too long. 1 hour later, nearly 100 people, led by Lu Ming, flew to the Shifeng sword sect. The Shifeng sword sect wasn't far from the imperial capital. It was about 10,000 miles away. They arrived after an hour. More than 100 people floated above the Shifeng mountain. Activate the sect protection array. Hurry up and activate the sect protection array. As soon as Lu Ming and the others arrived, a loud roar came from the Shifeng sword sect. Buzz, buzz, light shone everywhere in the Shifeng sword sect. Inscriptions flashed and formed a sect protection array that enveloped the Shifeng sword sect. Countless sword chi swam around. This sect protection array was similar to the Mystic Essence sword sect's sect protection array. However, it was more powerful and mysterious. Obviously, the Shifeng sword sect had already received the news. It seems like there are still many experts in the Shifeng sword sect. There's even a half-step king among them. Lin Shui and the others said. Everyone looked at Lu Ming. They could only rely on Lu Ming to break the sect protection array of the Shifeng sword sect. If they were to go, they wouldn't be able to break it in a short time. Whoosh! Lu Ming clenched his fist, and a long spear condensed in the air. Then, the long spear slashed down at the Shifeng sword sect. At the same time, the long spear rapidly enlarged to the size of a mountain and blasted towards the Shifeng sword sect. Block it! Block it! Angry roars came from the Shifeng sword sect. The sect protection array of the Shifeng sword sect flickered crazily. At the same time, a few huge sword chi soared into the sky and blasted towards Lu Ming's spearlight. However, under the pressure of the spearlight, the sword chi collapsed like tofu. Boom! The spear light blasted heavily on the sect protection array of the Shifeng sword sect. Bang! Bang! Almost immediately, the formation bases of the sect's grand defensive formation in the Decimo sword sect exploded. Screams came out one after another. Those who controlled the array were directly shocked to death by the backlash. With one move, the sect protection array of the Shifeng sword sect was broken. Although they had long known that Lu Ming's battle strength was shocking and that he was a peerless king, Lin Shui and the others were still shocked when they saw this scene with their own eyes. Sect leader Lin, I'll leave the rest to you, Lu Ming said. Lu Ming no longer had the slightest interest in the following battles. Okay, don't worry, Lin Shui nodded. Then they charged in. It was a completely one-sided massacre. 90% of the experts of the Shifeng sword sect had died in the battle at the Mystic Essence sword sect. How could the remaining be a match for Lin Shui and the others? Chapter 489. However, Lin Shui and the rest did not kill the innocent. They only killed the higher-ups of the Shifeng sword sect. Most of them were martial grandmasters, and above. They did not kill anyone below that. That was because those below the martial grandmaster level were not much of a threat. Soon, the Shifeng sword sect quieted down. Lu Ming looked at the Shifeng sword sect calmly, without any expression on his face. In the world of martial arts, killings were carried out every day. Every day, there would be sects destroyed and sects rising. It was very normal. Lu Ming was silent for a while, then turned around and left. There was no need for him to do anything. Lin Shui and the rest were enough to destroy the Sky Fiend sect. The higher-ups of the Sky Fiend sect were almost all dead in the Mystic Essence sword sect. They could not stop Lin Shui and the rest. Lu Ming stepped on the air and traveled 1,000 miles in an instant. He headed towards the Mystic Essence sword sect. Soon, he returned to the Mystic Essence sword sect. Golden Eye, after this evolution. He will probably enter the King realm. In the air in front of the Mystic Essence sword sect, Lu Ming looked at the blood cocoon floating in the air and thought to himself. Then, Lu Ming moved and flew towards the depths of the Mystic Essence sword sect. Lu Ming came to the courtyard of Lu Yuntian and the rest. Lu Yuntian and Li Ping were drinking tea and chatting. Now that Lu Ming had become a king, his name was well known in the world. Both of them were very happy and always had smiles on their faces. Father, mother. Lu Ming pushed the door open and called out softly, Ming, are you back? Take a seat. Li Ping said with a smile. Lu Ming sat down. Ming, why didn't I see Miss Yinqing this time? Li Ping asked. In the past, Xian Yinqing was by Lu Ming's side every day. This was a well-known fact. Later, Xian Yinqing followed Lu Ming to participate in the assessment of the Imperial Divine Guards. Many people thought that Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing were a couple. Li Ping and Lu Yuntian were also quite fond of Xian Yinqing, so they were naturally very concerned about him. Father, mother, Miss Xia has other matters to attend to. She did not return to the Burning Sun Empire. Lu Ming said. At the mention of Xian Yinqing, Lu Ming had a complicated look in his eyes. He was also very worried. Unfortunately, there were no clues at all. Ming-er, did you guys quarrel? As a man, sometimes you should let a girl have her way. You should learn from your father about this. Li Ping said earnestly. Cough, cough. Lu Yuntian coughed dryly. Father, mother, it's nothing. Miss Xie is just busy. All right. Having said that, Lu Ming waved his hands and more than 10 jade bottles appeared on the table. Father, mother, these pills can nourish your body, replenish your blood, and prolong your life. Although they can't mend your meridians, they can still nourish your body. Lu Ming said. Lu Yuntian and Li Ping happily kept the pills. They knew that Lu Ming had reached the Martial King realm. These pills were no longer of much use to Lu Ming. In the following days, Lu Ming would take time to visit Lu Yuntian and Li Ping every day. He would spend the rest of his time cultivating. After reaching the Martial Emperor realm, his comprehension of the martial path and his understanding of the martial path had improved tremendously. His comprehension of martial skills had also greatly increased. Lu Ming had already reached the limit of the second step of the 9 dragons' sky-stomping steps. 7 days later, Lu Ming had successfully reached the 3rd step. With 3 consecutive steps, the power of the 9 dragons' sky-stomping steps had increased by more than tenfold. It had reached the 6th level of a lower heaven class martial skill. In terms of power, it was no weaker than the 3rd level of the 3 skills of Dragon Mountain. Lu Ming had gained another trump card. In these 7 days, the Burning Sun Empire was shaken. Decimo Sword Faction and Sky Demon Sect were destroyed. The 8th Prince killed Sky Suppressing King and took back the imperial capital. Every piece of news was enough to shake the Burning Sun Empire. The most shocking news was that the Marquis of Champion Lu Ming had made a strong return and had reached the Martial King realm. Everyone was dumbfounded. Then, wherever the Mystic Essence Sword Faction, Crimson Cloud Valley, and the Imperial family's army passed, the Decimo Sword Faction and Sky Demon Sect's forces surrendered. There were almost no fierce battles. Half a month later, the entire Burning Sun Empire was under the control of the Mystic Essence Sword Faction, Crimson Cloud Valley, and the Imperial family. The Burning Sun Empire was unified like never before. As the saying went, a country could not be without a ruler. At this time, many people suggested that Hua Qi should inherit the throne and become the emperor of the Burning Sun Empire. But Hua Qi did not agree. He refused with the reason that the Burning Sun Empire had just gone through a great war. 2 days later, people tried again, but Hua Qi still refused. At this time, someone found Lu Ming, hoping that Lu Ming could persuade Hua Qi to ascend the throne. Lu Ming nodded and went to the imperial capital. Then the imperial family announced to the world that Hua Qi would officially ascend the throne in a month's time in the imperial capital. At the same time, the Mystic Essence Sword Faction and Crimson Cloud Valley were made the 2 sacred grounds of the Burning Sun Empire. In addition, Lu Ming was made the champion king and the commander-in-chief of the empire. The Lu family was made a first-class family on the same level as the noble families. When the news spread, it attracted the attention of the world. Countless forces were preparing to go to the imperial capital to celebrate the ascension of the new emperor. This was because everyone knew that Lu Ming was the one behind Hua Qie King, who was not even 20 years old. That was the main point. As long as Lu Ming was alive, Hua Qi's power would be impregnable. The entire Burning Sun Empire was looking forward to the arrival of the new emperor. Even the other 35 empires were paying attention. However, Lu Ming did not care about any of this. He took Lu Yuntian and Li Ping back to the Lu family in Firestorm City. The Lu family was filled with red lights. It was a joyous scene. Countless people came in and out. It was very lively. The Lu family was now a first-class family, similar to the noble families. In the past few days, all the forces in a few hundred cities had come to congratulate them. The young master is back, and so is the family head and madam. A loud roar caused the entire Lu family to boil. Family head, madam, the young master is back. The news spread throughout the Lu family. When Lu Ming and the others walked to the front door of the Lu family, they were stunned to see countless people rushing out. At the front were the few remaining core elders of the Lu family and the branch masters of a few branches. Behind them, there were at least a few hundred people that Lu Ming did not know. Greetings to the family head, madam, young master, and family head. It has been many years since we last met. I can die without regrets. One of the core elders bowed in greeting. Looking at Lu Yuntian, tears almost fell from his eyes. Everyone, please rise. Lu Yuntian's eyes were filled with complicated emotions. After so many years, he had finally returned to the Lu family. I am the city lord of Flowing Light City. Greetings to the champion king, family head Lu and Madam Lu. A stout man squeezed out of the crowd and bowed to Lu Ming. I am the family head of Lu family of Wudong City. Greetings to the champion king. Family head Lu, do you still recognize me? I am Lucio, the city lord of Fragrant City. Behind them, a group of people came over to greet them. All right, everyone, let us in first. Lu Ming waved his hand and shouted. Chapter 490. After Lu Ming's group entered, the Lu family's core elders and the various lineages leaders followed closely behind. The various lineages leaders secretly rejoiced that Lu Yunxiong had failed to kill Lu Ming. Otherwise, the Lu family wouldn't be where it was today. The stronger the Lu family was, the more benefits they would reap. Now, as a mere lineages leader, they had more authority than some of the major cities' city lords. Those city lords had to listen to them, which made them extremely happy. Naturally, they treated Lu Ming, Lu Yuntian, and the others with even more respect. The group arrived at the Lu family's courtyard. There were already dozens of banquet tables in the courtyard. Everyone invited Lu Ming, Lu Yuntian, and Li Ping to the highest table. Everyone, thank you for coming. This Lu hasn't been back for many years. Now, let me propose a toast to everyone. Lu Yuntian raised his wine cup and said loudly. Back then, Lu Yuntian had been quite famous in many major cities. Many of his old friends were present as well. Brother Yuntian, it's been many years. I didn't expect to see you again. Suddenly a voice sounded. Lu Yuntian looked over, and his eyes lit up. He smiled and said, Brother Zhou, haha, I trust you've been well since we last met. Lu Ming also looked over, and a smile appeared on his face. The person who spoke just now was actually Zhou Linshan. Lu Ming still remembered clearly that when he first joined the Mystic Essence Sword Sect, he met Zhou Linshan on his first mission. It was also from Zhou Linshan that he learned that Lu Yuntian was still alive. Uncle Zhou, please take a seat. Lu Ming also stood up and cupped his fists. Champion King, there's no need to be so polite. I don't dare. Zhou Linshan quickly waved his hand. His heart was filled with complicated emotions as he sighed inwardly. When he first met Lu Ming was only a little guy in the martial master realm. In just a few years, Lu Ming had already become a king whose name shook the world. That was a king. Just thinking of that word made his heart tremble. Brother Zhou, there's no need to be so polite. Come. Lu Yuntian waved his hand. Back then, Lu Yuntian had entrusted the Heavenly Star Sword and 2 other important items to Zhou Linshan. This was enough to show their relationship. Lu Yuntian was overjoyed to see his old friend again. At this time, Zhou Linshan did not decline and walked towards Lu Ming and the other seats. Haha, Brother Zhou, long time no see. You and I have both aged. Come, let's drink 3 big bowls." Lu Yuntian laughed heartily. Instead of using cups, he poured 2 bowls full of wine. Haha, good. Infected by Lu Yuntian's heroic spirit, Zhou Linshan also let loose. Laughing heartily, he downed 3 bowls of wine with Lu Yuntian. The surrounding castellans and aristocratic families, patriarchs, cast envious gazes at Zhou Linshan. Zhou Linshan was actually on such good terms with the Lu clan. What kind of honor was it to be able to sit at the same table as Lu Ming and Lu Yuntian? Many people were even thinking about building a good relationship with Zhou Linshan in the future. Immediately, Lu Ming also toasted Zhou Linshan. After 3 rounds of wine, Lu Ming, Lu Yuntian, and Li Ping retreated. The others continued to drink. In the next few days, people came to the Lu clan to congratulate them. Lu Ming did not meet any of them as he focused on cultivating. As for Lu Yuntian, he met some of his acquaintances. Time slowly passed, and Lu Ming's comprehension of concept grew deeper. However, there was still a long way to go before he could condense concept, runes for his wind and fire concept. On the other hand, due to the existence of the lightning cauldron, his lightning concept improved at lightning speed, advancing by leaps and bounds every day. As for the 3 ultimates of the dragon god, they had completely stabilized at the 3rd level. However, in order to reach the 4th level, he needed to condense concept runes for all 3 concepts. Soon, more than 10 days passed. At this time, the Lu clan's people were preparing to depart for the capital city. The Lu clan was an important guest this time. Lu Ming, Li Ping, and Lu Yuntian arrived at the capital city 1 step ahead of them. On the 2nd day in the capital city, Lu Ming went to the Hall of General and headed towards the Earth Essence Cave. During this time, the Hall of General had started operating again. Some of the students who did not die in battle had also returned to the Hall of General. In the Blazing Sun Empire, the only thing that Lu Ming was curious about was the Earth Essence Cave. The Earth Essence Cave had a total of 13 levels. It was said that it was opened by the former king of the royal family. It was said that only kings could enter the 12th and 13th levels. Moreover, there was another saying that the 13th level opened by the king of the royal family was not the limit. Because with that king's strength, he could only open up the 13th level. Beyond that, even the king could not do it. Soon, Lu Ming arrived at the entrance of the Earth Essence Cave. Champion. The few burly men guarding the door were shocked at the sight of Lu Ming. They stuttered for a long time and could not utter a complete sentence. Lu Ming smiled and walked in without consulting anyone. Only then did the guards realize what was going on. "Nestle, who is that?" He actually walked in just like that. "He seems very arrogant." There were some other young men around. A young man with an arrogant face said indignantly, "Are you fucking blind? That is Lu Ming, the champion king. Don't you know him? Are you a new student who just joined?" Someone at the side said with disdain, "What? That is Lu Ming? No, that is the champion king? My idol, my idol. Why didn't you say so earlier? Oh my God, I miss my idol just like that. No, I will wait for him here." The arrogance on the face of the arrogant young man disappeared. It was replaced by admiration. The news of Lu Ming's arrival at the Earth Essence Cave spread throughout the Hall of General. Countless people gathered around the Earth Essence Cave. Some of the young men who were in closed-door training also ended their training and rushed to the Earth Essence Cave when they heard the news. Among them, the majority were girls. Lu Ming had reached the Martial King realm before the age of 20. Not to mention the Blazing Sun Empire. He was unprecedented even in the Cloud Empire's 36 countries. Young girls worshipped heroes and loved geniuses. Lu Ming was such a peerless genius. Naturally, there were many girls who adored and loved him. Countless people gathered outside the Earth Essence Cave and waited. Lu Ming naturally did not know how big of a commotion he had caused. He went all the way down and did not stop. Soon, Lu Ming arrived at the 9th floor. At this point, the spiritual qi of fire was extremely dense and violent. Ordinary people could not cultivate here at all. The violent fire spiritual qi would burn their meridians and damage them. However, to Lu Ming, the fire spiritual qi was like a spring breeze. He did not feel anything. He continued going down. When he arrived at the 10th floor, he felt that the fire spiritual qi on the 10th floor was several times richer and more violent than the 9th floor. Lu Ming did not stop and continued going down. 11th floor, 12th floor. When Lu Ming arrived at the 12th floor, his expression changed slightly. The fire spiritual qi here had reached an exaggerated level. Endless fire spiritual qi was incomparably violent, wantonly ravaging everything. The surrounding walls were completely crystallized and were extremely hard. Lu Ming felt that even if a half-step king were to cultivate here, he would be killed by the fire spirit energy here. Chapter 491. Lu Ming was amazed. This place was really strange. The deeper he went, the denser and more violent the fire spiritual qi became. What was down there? How could such a strange place be formed? Lu Ming was curious. He continued to go down to the 13th floor. Boom! Surging fire spiritual qi rushed toward him. Lu Ming felt as if he had walked into a volcano. An extremely hot aura spread throughout his body. This fire spiritual qi is too abnormal. Lu Ming activated the fire intent realm to resist the fire spiritual qi outside. Then he looked around. The 13th floor was very small. It was only the size of an ordinary secret room. The surrounding walls had completely turned into fiery red crystals. The stone room was empty. There was nothing in it. Lu Ming could sense that the raging fire spirit energy was emanating from beneath his feet. It seems that the martial king of the imperial family could only dig up to this point and did not have the strength to continue. That's right, the fire spiritual qi here is too strong for an ordinary martial king to bear, Lu Ming thought. However, although he was only an early-stage martial king, he was not an ordinary martial king. His strength was so strong that he could kill a third-stage martial king expert. With the protection of 3 intents and the eruption of true yuan, the fire spiritual qi here could not do anything to him. Then I'll continue to dig and see what's down there. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. A LV-5 spiritual weapon appeared in his hand. Whoosh! Lu Ming slashed at the ground with the saber. 3 intents were entwined on the saber. Clang, clang. The saber hit the ground as if it had hit a piece of iron. Sparks flew everywhere. However, pieces of glass-like stones were still cut off from the ground. Lu Ming took out a storage ring and put away the stones. Then he continued to slash at the ground. Very soon, Lu Ming cut a big hole in the ground and continued downward. After about 10 meters, Lu Ming began to expand the hole. 2 hours later, a stone room appeared. The 14th floor. The fire spiritual qi here had reached a terrifying level. However, he still could not see what was emitting it. Lu Ming furrowed his brows. The reason for that was because this was his limit. If he were to continue down, with his strength, he might not be able to withstand it. This was too terrifying. Incredible. No matter what is down there, it must be incredible. Forget it, I'm not strong enough now. When I'm strong enough in the future, I'll dig to the bottom and see what's down there. Lu Ming secretly decided. Now, there are only a few days left before the flower pond. I should be able to cultivate here. The fire spiritual qi here was extremely dense. Moreover, it contained a powerful fire mentality. It was perfect to cultivate and comprehend the fire mentality here. It would definitely be many times better than the outside world. Immediately, Lu Ming sat down cross-legged, and the 9 dragons' bloodline appeared. He opened his mouth, and fire elemental spiritual qi gathered in his dragon mouth. The raging fire spiritual qi was directly converted into vital essence after being refined by the 9 dragon bloodline. At the same time, Lu Ming extended his mind and began comprehending the concept of fire. As expected, comprehending the concept of fire here was many times faster than outside. Lu Ming's understanding of the concept of fire gradually deepened. In the blink of an eye, a few days passed. There were only 2 days left before the Flower Pond's coronation. Lu Ming finished his cultivation and walked out of the Earth Essence Cave. Look, Lu Ming is out. As soon as Lu Ming walked out of the Earth Essence Cave, he heard a scream. Then Lu Ming saw a large group of girls looking at him with shining eyes. Is that the champion, Lu Ming? He's so handsome. Oh no, I'm tempted. What should I do? I want to marry him. At least a few hundred girls were looking at him with shining eyes. Are you kidding me? I've been cultivating for a few days. Why are there still people waiting here? Lu Ming was speechless. He moved his body and left the place, leaving behind a group of sighing girls. The imperial capital was getting more and more lively. Tens of thousands of cities in the Burning Sun Empire had sent envoys to congratulate him. Not only that, but envoys from other empires had also come. The imperial capital was filled with a joyous atmosphere. In the imperial garden of the imperial palace, 3 figures sat facing each other in a pavilion. Come, Big Stone. The 3 of us haven't drunk together for a long time. Come, drink with me and 3 big bowls. Hua Qi raised a big bowl of wine and said to a tall young man. The 3 of them were Lu Ming, Hua Qi, and Pang Shi. A few days ago, Pang Shi had followed the Mystic Essence Sword Sex team to the imperial capital. When Lu Ming came out of seclusion, Hua Qi pulled Lu Ming and Pang Shi to drink. Lu Ming also smiled. He and Pang Shi had not seen each other for a long time. The scene of the 3 of them drinking together in the dormitory was still vivid in his mind. Okay, I'll drink with you. Pang Shi raised the big bowl and drank it all in one gulp. He then scratched his head and said with a silly smile, I didn't expect that among the 3 of us, one of us is going to become the emperor, one of us is going to become the emperor, and one of us is going to become a world-famous emperor. I'm the only one who's still at the 9th layer martial master realm. Big Stone, don't be discouraged. Your specialty is to be steady and have a solid foundation. Your future is limitless. In the future, I might have to give up my position as the kingdom's commander-in-chief to you. Lu Ming patted Pang Shi's shoulder and said, Ha, senior brother Lu Ming, I'm not discouraged. I'm happy for the 2 of you. When I return to the village in the future and say that I know the 2 of you, I wonder how many people will envy me. Pang Shi smiled. Yes, right. At this moment, Lu Ming waved his hand and a few books and jade bottles appeared on the table. Lu Ming picked up 3 books and passed them to Pang Shi, saying, Big Stone, there are 3 cultivation technique manuals here. All of them belong to the Earth level inferior grade. They are very suitable for you to cultivate. What? Earth rank martial skill manuals? Senior brother Lu Ming, these are too precious. I can't take them. Pang Shi waved his hand. Big Stone, take them. To be honest, I don't have any use for these martial skill manuals. It would be a waste to keep them. You should take them and cultivate. Lu Ming smiled. After hearing Lu Ming's words, Pang Shi accepted them. He was very grateful to Lu Ming. Lower Earth rank martial skill manuals were definitely the best in the Blazing Sun Empire. Hua Qi, these are for you. Lu Ming handed the other books to Hua Qi. Thank you. Hua Qi did not stand on ceremony and accepted them. He knew that with Lu Ming's cultivation, these martial skill manuals were not useful to Lu Ming. Also, these elixirs can help you break through the shackles and increase your cultivation. Lu Ming pointed at the elixirs and said to the 2 of them. Then he divided the elixirs into 2 portions and gave 1 each to Hua Qi and Pang Shi. Many of these elixirs were obtained from the storage rings of martial kings. They were definitely of high quality. Chapter 492. With Lu Ming's secret manuals and pills, their cultivation would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Then, the two of them chatted as they drank. They drank for a few hours before dispersing. 2 days later, in front of the imperial palace, there was a spacious plaza filled with tables. Around the square, there were countless armored soldiers guarding the square, making it so that not even a drop of water could trickle through. In the middle of the plaza, there was an altar. Hua Qi was wearing a dragon robe. Surrounded by civil and military officials, as well as city lords, he prayed to the heavens and ancestors, officially ascending to the throne as the Blazing Sun Empire's emperor. After the meeting, it was time for a grand banquet. The champion king and grand marshal have arrived. Patriarch Lu and Madame Lu have arrived. A loud shout reverberated throughout the plaza. Lu Ming, Lu Yuntian, and Li Ping walked in from the outside. "This humble subject greets your majesty. This humble subject greets your majesty." Lu Ming, Lu Yuntian, and Lu Yuntian cupped their fists at Hua Qi and bowed. "Champion King, Uncle Lu, Auntie Lu, rise, rise. Men, give them a seat." Hua Qi hurried to welcome them, helping Lu Ming, Lu Yuntian, and Lu Yuntian up. Then he welcomed the three of them and sat down next to him. It was the seat closest to him. "The Mystic Essence Sword Sect Master has arrived. The Crimson Cloud Valley's Valley Master has arrived." Then Lin Shuai and Ling Patian led the two sects' golden-robed elders and several young elites into the plaza. Everyone first greeted Hua Qi, then presented their congratulatory gifts. Then, some of the smaller forces of the Blazing Sun Empire also entered the plaza to greet the new emperor and present their gifts. Blood Zhao Empire's Great Sun Prefecture, Lord has arrived. Suddenly, a shout made the whole place quiet down. "Great Sun Prefecture Lord?" Lin Shuai, Ling Patian, and the others were shocked. Lu Ming, on the other hand, had a cold expression on his face. It was said that the Great Sun Prefecture's Prefecture Lord was one of the two kings of the Blood Zhao Empire, and he had lived for several hundred years. Outside the plaza, an old man in a sun robe walked in with dozens of elders and burly men. "Great Sun Prefecture, Lord Jinyang greets the new emperor, Blazing Sun." The Great Sun Prefecture's lord led the crowd and bowed to Hua Qi before shifting his gaze to Lu Ming. "Great Sun Constabulary, I haven't even gone to look for you, and you've already delivered yourselves to me." Lu Ming slowly got up, and the aura emanating from his body rose rapidly. "Champion King, it's a misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding." The Great Sun Mansion Lord's expression changed drastically as he shouted. "Oh, misunderstanding? Is it a misunderstanding that your Great Sun Palace's 100,000 Sun Legion is attacking the Burning Sun Empire?" Lu Ming sneered. "Champion King, it's a misunderstanding. I was in seclusion at the time and had no idea that such a thing had happened. It was all because my subordinates were bewitched. When I came out of seclusion and learned of this, I killed the general of the Sun Corps. I'm here today to apologize to Champion King and everyone else." The Great Sun Prefecture's lord quickly explained in an honest manner, without the dignity of a king. Everyone knew that it was all because of Lu Ming. If it wasn't for Lu Ming, the Great Sun Prefecture's lord wouldn't have come to congratulate Hua Qi even if he did. He would have come to avenge the 100,000 Sun Corps. However, because of Lu Ming, the Great Sun Prefecture's lord didn't even dare to say a word about the death of the 100,000 Sun Corps. Instead, he came to apologize pitifully. After the Great Sun Prefecture's lord finished speaking, he waved his hand and boxes appeared on the ground. Inside the boxes were various spiritual weapons, elixirs, and smithing materials. Furthermore, they were all of high grades, most of them being LV4. "Champion King, these are a little gift from me. Please accept it," the Great Sun Prefecture's lord said with a smile. He was indeed afraid. Previously, When Lu Ming killed the kings, he was afraid that Lu Ming would attack the Great Sun Prefecture in a fit of rage. If that happened, he would be finished. He was only a first-layer martial emperor realm cultivator. Thus, it was unlikely that he could survive a single attack from Lu Ming. The Great Sun Prefecture's lord wore a flattering smile as he stared at Lu Ming. This caused the crowd to be astounded. In the past, the Great Sun Prefecture's lord was a legendary figure, standing high above the masses. Even if they wanted to meet him, they wouldn't be able to. Now, such a figure was behaving like a junior in front of Lu Ming, cautiously putting on a flattering smile, causing the crowd to feel strange. Some of the young cultivators were trembling in excitement, clenching their fists tightly and yelling in their hearts, "This is what a real cultivator should be like in the future, so that I won't waste my life." Lu Ming did not answer immediately, but closed his eyes as if he was in deep thought. The Great Sun Prefecture's lord stared at Qi Nan without daring to utter a word. A moment later, Lu Ming opened his eyes and said, "Today is a joyous day for the Blazing Sun Empire, so I won't hold it against you. However, remember this, if you dare to offend the Blazing Sun Empire again, I will personally flatten the Great Sun Prefecture." Murderous intent flickered in Lu Ming's eyes as he said the last sentence. The Great Sun Prefecture's lord and the other higher-ups broke out in cold sweat, their hearts turning cold. "Thank you, Champion King." The people of the Great Sun Prefecture cupped their fists together and expressed their gratitude. "You're a guest, have a seat." Lu Ming waved his hand and said. The people of the Great Sun Prefecture heaved a sigh of relief as if they had been granted amnesty and sat down at the side. "Jiu Yi Empire's Night Moon Emperor has arrived." At that moment, a loud shout could be heard. The crowd fell into silence once again. The Night Moon Emperor of the Jiu Yi Empire was a famous martial emperor expert in the 36 countries of the Imperial Cloud Empire, the strongest expert in the Jiu Yi Empire. Who would have thought that such a person would be here? Hua, Qi, Lin Shuai, and the others were overjoyed and quickly stood up to welcome the arrival. A tall and thin, middle-aged man walked in with a group of people. "Haha, Night Moon congratulates the new emperor of the Blazing Sun Prefecture and greets the Champion King." The Night Moon Emperor bowed slightly to Hua Qi and then solemnly bowed to Lu Ming. Everyone knew that the Night Moon Emperor had come for Lu Ming. "Night Moon Emperor, please take a seat." Lu Ming waved his hand and said, "The Patriarch of the Wuhui sect has arrived. The Grand Patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect has arrived. The Jinkei King has arrived." Then, one after another, loud shouts could be heard. Everyone at the scene was shocked to the extreme, because the people who came were all overlords of the 36 countries of the Imperial Cloud Empire, and they were all martial emperor experts. Every one of them was an invincible figure in the 36 countries of the Imperial Cloud Empire, and they were all legendary almighties. Most of the time, they were extremely elusive. Yet, at this very moment, they were actually gathered here together. Finally, almost all the martial emperors of the 8 intermediate countries in the Imperial Cloud mountain range had arrived, and there were a total of 15 of them. One should know that there were no more than 20 martial emperors of the 36 countries of the Imperial Cloud Empire. It could be said that most of the martial emperors were here. At the scene, everyone from the Blazing Sun Empire was excited. This was a kind of glory, and this glory was brought by Lu Ming. Everyone knew that these experts were here for Lu Ming. A martial emperor who was less than 20 years old was too amazing, and his future was limitless. Naturally, they wanted to curry favor and befriend him as soon as possible. Chapter 493. Champion King, I think the scar on your father's face should have been left within the past 10 years. I have a portion of crystal morning ointment here. Although it cannot heal your father's meridian injuries, it should be enough to heal the scar. The one who spoke was a white-haired old man. He was one of the retired emperors of the Cloud Desolate Empire. He was a mid-third level martial king and was known as one of the top 3 experts of the 36 countries. At this moment, he took out a jade bottle and handed it to Lu Ming. "Thank you, Senior." Lu Ming was overjoyed and took it without hesitation. Although it couldn't heal Lu Yuntian's meridians, it could heal the scar on his face. Lu Ming was also very happy. "Thank you, Senior." Lu Yuntian and Li Ping also bowed to the retired emperor of the Cloud Desolate Empire. "Haha, no need to be so polite. This is just a small token of my appreciation." The Cloud Desolate Empire's retired emperor laughed. Then everyone sat down. At this moment, almost everyone who should be here had arrived. Suddenly, Lu Ming raised his head and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He said coldly, "Sir, you have been watching for so long. Shouldn't you show yourself?" "What?" When Lu Ming said this, everyone was shocked and looked towards the sky. But the sky was very clear. There was not a single cloud. How could there be anyone? Without clouds, how could anyone hide? Lu Ming couldn't have sensed wrongly, right? At this moment, he, as expected of the champion king. Becoming a king at such a young age is indeed extraordinary. "You can actually sense me." A cold laugh rang out from the sky. At the same time, a figure suddenly appeared out of nowhere. It was as if he had appeared out of thin air. This was a white-haired old man wearing a black robe. His face was cold. "It's you, Hell King Manor's old ghost Yu Ming." When the retired emperor of the Cloud Desolate Empire saw this old man, he roared. On the field, the other kings were also shocked. Could this old man be the strongest assassin of the Hell King Manor, the one who is as famous as the retired emperor of the Cloud Desolate Empire, one of the top 3 experts of the 36 countries of the Cloud Desolate Empire, Yu Ming? This was a name that would make people pale. Hell King Manor was the #1 assassin organization in the 36 countries of Emperor Yin. It had branches in every empire. In the Burning Sun Empire, there was also a branch of the King of Hell Mansion. It was also known as one of the 4 major assassin organizations in the Burning Sun Empire. Hell King Manor could be said to be the enemy of all the 36 countries of the Cloud Emperor. Almost every powerful force had people assassinated by Hell King Manor. At this moment, Yu Ming's appearance caused many people's expressions to change. "You've been hiding in the sky, sneaking around. Do you think I don't know? If you're here to congratulate me, I'll welcome you. If not, scram." Lu Ming's gaze was like lightning as he stared at Yu Ming. "Hee, Champion King. You are indeed young and full of vigor. What a big tone." Yu Ming sneered and continued. "Lu Ming, the one who shouldn't have appeared is you. Once you appear, the balance of the 36 countries will be broken sooner or later. Therefore, it's best that you disappear from this world." "You want to kill me?" Lu Ming smiled faintly. "Hee, I heard that some time ago you killed a warrior in the early 3rd level of Martial King Realm. I can only say that rumors are really powerful. Those who spread these rumors are also brainless people who don't understand the mystery of the Martial King Realm. In the Martial King Realm, a warrior who has just broken through to the Martial King Realm can't kill a warrior in the 3rd level of Martial King Realm. So many people are really stupid. How can they believe such words?" Yu Ming sneered, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Lu Ming's rise made Hell King Manor feel threatened. Now, Hell King Manor could call for wind and rain in the 36 countries of Emperor Yin. Many forces were in awe of them. He was used to such a life. However, Lu Ming had appeared. Such a young king would definitely surpass him in the future. At that time, Hell King Manor would have a hard time. Therefore, he decided to kill Lu Ming before he grew up. "Then you can try," Lu Ming said. "Try, I'll try." As soon as he finished speaking, a sword light suddenly burst out from Yu Ming's hand. This sword light was extremely sharp and unbelievably fast. It silently pierced towards Lu Ming's throat. Fast, too fast. It passed through a few thousand meters of the void. Yu Ming was fast, but Lu Ming was faster. Whoosh! The long spear had appeared in Lu Ming's hand out of nowhere. He stabbed the sword light with the spear. Clang! With a crisp sound, the sword light was knocked away. Whoosh! The sword light flew back to Yu Ming's hand. Not bad, Yu Ming said faintly. Now it's my turn. As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Ming rushed up to the sky. Boom! Lu Ming didn't want to waste time talking nonsense. He directly stepped out. The 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps erupted with 3 different wills at the same time. Incomparably terrifying energy erupted and blasted towards Nether Spirit. Break for me! With a sword cry, a sword light burst out from Yu Ming's hand. It was even stronger than before. However, this sword light collapsed under Lu Ming's foot. Under the pressure of the powerful force, Yu Ming was forced to take 5 or 6 steps back. Boom! Then Lu Ming took a second step. A force several times stronger than before suddenly burst out. So strong? Yu Ming's expression changed for the first time. He became extremely serious. His body flashed with silver light as the power of his bloodline burst out. At the same time he stabbed out with his sword. Ghosts wailed and wolves howled as a black sword light pierced forward. As the sword light pierced out, countless ghostly shadows could be seen flickering. Boom! There was an earth-shattering explosion between heaven and earth. The entire imperial capital shook. Puff! In the next moment, Yu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood. His body retreated wildly, his eyes filled with disbelief. Too strong. Lu Ming is too strong. He's even stronger than the rumors said. He now believed that Lu Ming had really killed an early-stage martial king realm expert. However, it was too late to believe it now, because Lu Ming had already taken his third step, the 9 dragons, sky-stomping steps. 3 steps in a row, the power kept increasing. This step was as powerful as the vast ocean. It was endless and drowned Yu Ming. No, no. Yu Ming roared wildly. He burst out with all his strength, trying to rush out of the range of the 9 dragons' sky-stomping steps. However, it was all in vain. As the 9 dragons' sky-stomping steps landed, Yu Ming's body cracked at a speed visible to the naked eye. Then he exploded in the air. Lu Ming controlled the 9 dragons' bloodline to devour Yu Ming's essence and blood. At the same time, he took off Yu Ming's storage ring. Then he waved his hand and a flame appeared, burning Yu Ming's body to ashes. Below, countless people were dumbfounded, especially those kings. They kept gasping and felt cold all over. Their backs were wet with cold sweat. Lu Ming's strength was beyond everyone's expectations. Yu Ming, who had been famous in the 36 countries of the Cloud Emperor for hundreds of years, who made countless people pale at the mention of his name, had actually been killed by Lu Ming so easily? Chapter 494. As a matter of fact, most of the martial emperors had the same thought as Yu Ming. They did not believe that Lu Ming had managed to kill a third-layer martial emperor realm cultivator not long after he had broken through to the martial emperor realm. After all, a third-layer martial emperor was much stronger than a first-layer martial emperor. They had come to befriend Lu Ming mainly because of Lu Ming's potential. They valued his future instead of his current strength. Now they finally realized that Lu Ming's strength had reached a terrifying level. Killing Yu Ming in just a few moves meant that he was the strongest person in the 36 kingdoms of the Cloud Emperor. The patriarch of the Great Sun Prefecture, in particular, began to tremble. Lu Ming's combat ability was beyond his imagination. If he wanted to kill him, he did not need one move. Half a move would be enough. Impressive, truly impressive. It seems like I'm getting old. The retired emperor of the Cloud Desolate Empire exclaimed as he collected his thoughts. That's right. The Champion King is truly a rare genius. In the future, he will definitely become a famous powerhouse on the continent, and his name will shake the world. Immediately, the dozen or so martial kings revealed smiles and flattered Lu Ming. Everyone else at the scene was dumbfounded. They realized that the martial emperors who used to be superior were now acting like ordinary people, flattering the stronger ones. Everyone, the problem has been solved. Please take a seat and continue drinking. Lu Ming waved his hand and said, after cultivating in the earth element cave for more than 10 days, Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the mid-first layer martial emperor realm. His strength had improved once again. Lu Ming was not surprised that he was able to kill Yu Ming with the third step of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. Immediately, the banquet continued. However, everyone was in a different mood at the feast. The people of the Blazing Sun Empire were excited. With an expert like Lu Ming in charge, the Blazing Sun Empire would surely prosper. Meanwhile, the people of the other empires were having different thoughts. The feast lasted for 5 hours before it was announced that it was over. The crowd slowly dispersed. Lu Ming, Lu Yuntian, and Li Ping stayed in the imperial city for 2 days before returning to the Lu clan. On this day, Lu Ming sensed something and flew towards the Mystic Essence Sword Sect. When Lu Ming arrived at the Mystic Essence Sword Sect, the air above the sect was filled with the smell of blood. It was the blood cocoon formed by the golden-eyed blood zombie. It seemed that the evolution was complete. Whoa! The blood cocoon trembled, and the surrounding blood chi was so dense that it could not be dispersed. After a long while, the blood chi gathered toward the blood cocoon and disappeared into it. Kacha! Then, the blood cocoon cracked open, and a muscular figure walked out from it. The golden-eyed blood zombie's body was covered in a blood-red mist, and its skin had turned pale gold. Moreover, the hair on its body and the fangs in its mouth had disappeared. It looked very similar to a normal person. A terrifying aura emanated from the golden-eyed blood zombie. This was the aura of a king. The golden-eyed blood zombie had successfully evolved into a true king after absorbing the blood of 5 or 6 kings and hundreds of thousands of soldiers. Master, when the golden-eyed blood zombie saw Lu Ming, a trace of excitement flashed across its face. It bowed to Lu Ming. Golden-eyed, you can speak? Lu Ming was taken aback. Yes, I can speak as soon as I become a king. The golden-eyed blood zombie bowed. As expected, it said that once a monster reaches the king level, it can speak as well. It seems that the king level is indeed a hurdle. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He took out a set of clothes and tossed it to the golden-eyed blood zombie. Put these on. Yes, master. The golden-eyed blood zombie took the clothes and put them on. Golden-eyed, follow me back to the Lu family. From now on, you'll be responsible for the safety of my parents. Lu Ming ordered. Yes, the golden-eyed blood zombie bowed. Lu Ming was overjoyed that the golden-eyed blood zombie had become a king. Initially, he was worried about Lu Yuntian and Li Ping's safety. Now that the golden-eyed blood zombie had become a king, he felt more at ease with it protecting Lu Yuntian and Li Ping. In a flash, they headed back to the Lu family. Not long after, they arrived at the Lu family. When Lu Yuntian found out that the golden-eyed blood zombie had become a king, he was shocked at first. Then he was pleasantly surprised. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed. In 7 days, the scars on Lu Yuntian's face had completely disappeared. Not a single trace was left behind. He had regained his former handsomeness and resembled Lu Ming by 60 to 70%. Lu Ming, Li Ping, and the rest were overjoyed. At this time, Lu Ming bade farewell to Lu Yuntian and Li Ping. It was time to return to the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. After Li Ping's reminder, Lu Ming soared into the sky and left in a flash. However, he did not head to the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace immediately. Instead, he went to the Cloud Wilderness Empire's imperial capital. This was because there was still one thing that had not been resolved. Although Lu Ming had killed Yu Ming in the King of Hell Manor, there were still some experts below. If Lu Ming left, there was no guarantee that these experts would harm Lu Ming's family. He had to deal with this scourge first. In the 36 countries of the Cloud Wilderness Empire, the one who understood the king of Hell Manor the most was undoubtedly the retired emperor of the Cloud Wilderness Empire. Lu Ming's arrival shook the Cloud Wilderness Empire's imperial family. Naturally, he was able to meet the retired emperor of the Cloud Wilderness Empire. The retired emperor of the Cloud Wilderness Empire was named Huang Su. When he heard that Lu Ming was going to deal with the king of Hell Manor, he was naturally overjoyed. King Champion, my Cloud Wilderness Empire has been investigating the king of Hell Manor for close to 100 years. Although the king of Hell Manor's headquarters is extremely secretive and no one knows about it, I have already known about it. In the past, I was afraid of Yu Ming's strength. That was why I did not attack the king of Hell Manor's headquarters. Now that Yu Ming is dead, it's time to get rid of the scourge. Huang Su was overjoyed. Senior Huang, there's no need for too many people. Just the two of us is enough. Lu Ming said. All right, I'll bring you there immediately, Huang Su said. After that, Lu Ming and Huang Su flew out of the Cloud Wilderness Empire's imperial capital and headed towards the north. The north of the Cloud Emperor mountain range was incomparably desolate. There were mountains everywhere, and powerful demonic beasts roamed about. There was no empire here, and not many people lived here. Lu Ming and the ruins came to the top of a wide lake. As far as I know, there's another world under this lake. The king of Hell Manor's headquarters is under this lake. Huang Su said. It's really secretive. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Let's go. After that, Lu Ming and Huang Su rushed into the lake. True essence covered their bodies as the two silently headed towards the bottom of the lake. The lake was very deep. The deepest part was actually 1,000 meters. At the bottom of the lake, there wasn't much silt. Most of it was smooth rocks. In the middle of the rocks, there was a 2-meter wide crack. This crack was inscribed with inscriptions, blocking the lake water so that the lake water couldn't flow down. Obviously, the king of Hell Manor's headquarters was below. The two restrained their auras and silently passed through the inscriptions. After passing through the inscriptions, their eyes suddenly opened up. Below, there were some naturally formed underground caverns that extended in all directions and were incomparably wide. In front of them, there was a faint sound of talking. The two of them moved and moved forward. In a small cave, several Hell King Manor's assassins dressed in black robes were conversing. Chapter 495. Then, the two of them continued to go deeper, and more assassins from the King of Hell Mansion were killed. Lu Ming did not show any mercy. The hands of the assassins from the King of Hell Mansion were stained with blood. They were paid to kill, and many innocent people had died in their hands. Every one of them deserved to be killed. In a short while, more than 100 people had died in their hands. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! Finally, someone discovered Lu Ming and the ruins. Horrified shouts could be heard in the underground cave. Boom! Boom! Since they had been discovered, there was no need for them to hide their auras. The two of them unleashed their full strength and killed their way in. No one could stop the two of them. He had to admit that the King of Hell Mansion was indeed very powerful. There were actually 6 martial King Realm experts in this underground cave. However, the most powerful of the 6 martial King Realm experts was only at the peak of LV2 martial King Realm. They could not resist Lu Ming and Huang Su and were easily killed. There was a loud explosion in the underground cave, and it started to shake violently. Rumble. In the end, the entire underground cave collapsed. Swoosh! Swoosh! 2 figures rushed out from the bottom of the lake and stood in the air. They were Lu Ming and Huang Su. Below them, the lake water surged. As the underground cave collapsed, it formed a huge whirlpool. The lake water flowed down and flooded the underground cave. No one from the King of Hell Mansion escaped. Haha, great. Champion King. Thanks to you, we can get rid of the tumor in the Cloud Emperor mountain range. Huang Su laughed heartily. Senior Huang, you are too polite. I just did it out of convenience. By the way, I will have to trouble you to take care of the remaining branches of the King of Hell Mansion." Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, "Ha ha ha, no problem. Once I return, I will summon all the countries to kill the people from the King of Hell Mansion." Huang Su laughed. "That's great. I will take my leave then." After saying that, Lu Ming turned into a ray of light and disappeared into the horizon. He is a genius. I wonder what heights he will reach in the future. I am looking forward to it. Huang Su muttered to himself as he looked in the direction Lu Ming had left. Lu Ming headed towards the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. The distance from the Cloud Emperor mountain range to the Myriad Star City was shorter. Lu Ming only spent 3 days to return to the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Then he reported his mission and returned to the Eastern Sky Courtyard. In a large hall of the Thunder Palace, the Thunder Palace Master's face was extremely gloomy as he sat on the highest chair. "What's going on? It's been so long. Why aren't Chao and Chongkong back yet? Also, those 5 guys didn't send me any messages either." The Thunder Palace Master muttered, feeling a little anxious. It had been so long, but Chiu Chongkong and Xue Chao still hadn't come back, which gave him a bad feeling. Could it be that Lu Ming really didn't die? That's impossible. According to Su Zhong and the others, Lu Ming should be dead for sure. Even if he didn't die, he would still die when he reached the Burning Sun Empire. But why aren't Chongkong and the others back yet? What happened? Damn it! I'm being watched closely by strange old Feng and the others. I can't even send people to get information. The Thunder Palace Master roared in his heart. When Su Zhong, Huang Jing, and the others returned to the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, they immediately reported the matter of the Heavenly Corpse sect and the bald man attacking Lu Ming. This caused an uproar, especially the Wind Palace Master, Fire Palace Master, and the others. They were furious, and they immediately suspected the Thunder Palace Master. However, the Thunder Palace Master naturally denied it. The other Palace Masters didn't have any evidence, so they couldn't do anything to the Thunder Palace Master. However, they sent people to keep an eye on the Thunder Palace Master to see what he would do. Therefore, during this period, the Thunder Palace Master didn't know what had happened in the Burning Sun Empire. He also didn't know that the people he sent had been killed by Lu Ming. "Palace Master! Palace Master!" At this moment, a young man hurriedly ran in. "What's the matter? Speak." The Thunder Palace Master frowned. "Palace Master, Lu Ming has returned." The young man shouted, "What? Lu Ming didn't die? How is that possible? Are you sure you didn't see wrongly?" Thunder Palace Master abruptly stood up from his chair, almost roaring out loud. "It's true. I saw him submitting the mission with my own eyes. He has already returned to the East Sky Yard." The young man reported, Damn it. Why isn't that little bastard dead yet? How is that possible?" The Thunder Palace Master roared. According to his plan, Lu Ming should be dead for sure. Even if he had escaped from the Heavenly Corpse sect, he would still die when he returned to the Burning Sun Empire. However, Lu Ming had returned alive. Could it be that someone is secretly helping him? It's possible, very possible. Those Palace Masters and the Palace Master might have sent people to help him secretly. That must be it. The Thunder Palace Master's eyes flickered. Lu Ming, that little bastard, can't be left alive. I must find a way to get rid of him. A cold killing intent flashed across the Thunder Palace Master's eyes. At this moment his expression changed, and a voice transmission jade talisman appeared in his hand. He scanned it with his mind. At first he was slightly stunned, but then he was overjoyed. The Sheng family actually sent people here at this time. Good. Doesn't Lu Ming have a grudge with Sheng Wushuang? I can use this opportunity to provoke the Sheng family and use them to kill Lu Ming. The Thunder Palace Master was overjoyed. Go welcome the Sheng family. Then the Thunder Palace Master strode out. In the west of the Myriad Star City, 5 figures were heading towards the myriad star city. One of them was a white-haired, burly old man, while the other 4 were young people. They were all in their 20s, and there were 3 men and 1 woman. The 4 of them had one thing in common, and that was a cold and arrogant expression. At this moment, 2 figures flew out from the myriad star city and greeted the 5 people. One of them was Shang Wushuang, and the other was the Thunder Palace Master. Ha ha ha, so it's Brother Sheng Yao. What brings Brother Sheng Yao to the east of the Tianqian domain? The Thunder Palace Master cupped his fists and laughed. Brother Zheng, I hope you've been well since we last met. I'm here for a small matter. The white-haired old man smiled. Sheng Wushuang greets Elder Sheng Yao. Sheng Wushuang stepped forward and bowed respectfully. Sheng Yao looked at Sheng Wushuang, and his face turned cold. He nodded slightly in response. Hee, Sheng Wushuang, I heard that you were badly beaten up by a divine guard from the same batch. Sheng Wushuang, you're a disgrace to the Sheng family. A young man from the Sheng family mocked. That's right, Sheng Wushuang. You're really a piece of trash. You were beaten up in the east of the Tianqian domain. If you return to the central region, you're worse than trash. Another young man sneered. Chapter 496. He was furious, but he dared not say anything. In the Sheng family, he was just a side branch disciple. The young men in front of him were direct disciples of the Sheng family. They were much higher than him in terms of status and cultivation. He could not be compared to them at all. The Sheng family was the oldest family in Tianqian domain. It was also one of the 2 strongest families of Emperor Heaven Divine Palace in Tianqian domain. One was the Sheng family, and the other was the Mu family. The Sheng family was located in the central region of Tianqian domain. The central region was the most fertile and vast place in Tianqian domain. It was also the place with the richest spiritual qi. The central region of the Tianqian domain was 10 times the size of the eastern region. There were countless geniuses and monstrous geniuses. It was the core of Tianqian domain. The young men in front of him were direct disciples of the Sheng family. Sheng Wushuang could not afford to offend them. Sheng Wushuang, don't worry. Although you're trash, you're still a member of the Sheng family. Even if you're a dog of the Sheng family, we'll make you pay 10 times the price. Don't worry, we'll avenge you. One of the young men smiled faintly. Sheng Wushuang's face darkened. What did they mean? Did they compare him to a dog? Lu Ming, it's all your fault. It's all your fault. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been humiliated like this. I won't let you off. Sheng Wushuang roared in his heart. He did not dare to offend the direct disciples of the Sheng family. He could only blame it on Lu Ming. Haha, Brother Sheng and the rest of you, let's go in and have a chat. Temple Master Lei said with a smile. All right. Sheng Yao nodded. They immediately went into Temple Master Lei. Someone had already prepared spiritual tea and spiritual fruits. They took their seats. Brother Sheng, may I know why you're here? Perhaps I can be of some help. Temple Master Lei spoke first. I'm sorry, Brother Zheng. I've been asked by the young master of Star Palace to do something. Sheng Yao said, What, the young master of Star Palace? Hearing that, both the Thunder Hall Master and Sheng Wushuang's expressions changed greatly. Sheng Xingqian was the #1 genius of the younger generation of the Sheng family. Reaching Martial King at the age of 21 had shaken the entire Tianqian domain. In the eastern region of the Tianqian domain, what is it that has caught the young master's attention? Thunder Palace Master asked. It's not a big deal. Young Master Xingqian mainly wants to find someone, and then he wants us to bring this person to the central region. Holy Glory said, Looking for someone? Young Master of Stars, who are you looking for? Thunder Palace Master asked. We don't know either. Therefore, we still need the help of the Thunder Palace Master. Holy Glory said, I will do my best. I wonder if there are any clues? The Thunder Palace master immediately looked like he was going all out. Brother Zhang, you should know Palace Lord Mu's daughter, Miss Mullins, right? Xingyao asked. Palace Master Lei's expression changed once again as he said, Palace Master Mu's daughter, young Lady Mullins? Of course I know her. Moreover, I heard that young Lady Mullins was engaged to young Master Xingchen since she was young. The palace lord they were talking about was not the palace lord of the eastern region of the Tianxian domain, but the palace lord of the Emperor Sky Divine Palace's branches in the entire Tianxian domain. That's right. However, that girl Mullins did not want to marry young Master Xingchen. She even ran away from home and hid in a remote place like the Cloud Emperor mountain range. However, she actually went back some time ago. Young Master Xingchen has already sent people to investigate. That girl Mullins went back to ask for an invitation to the Emperor's Sky Divine Guard selection on behalf of someone else. Young Master Xingchen is looking for this person. The person that Mullins asked for an invitation is from the Burning Sun Empire of the Cloud Emperor mountain range. I heard that he has already joined the Emperor's Sky Divine Guards. Shang Yao explained once more. Hearing this, Thunder Palace Master's face was filled with joy. Brother Shang, I know this person. His name is Lu Ming. There were 2 Emperor's Sky Divine Guards from the Burning Sun Empire. Qiu Chongkong was definitely not one of them. The only one left was Lu Ming. Lu Ming. Hearing this, Xing Wushuang's expression changed drastically. What's wrong? Is this Lu Ming famous? A young man from the Sheng family asked. To be honest, this Lu Ming is an Eastern Sky Divine Guard from the Eastern Sky Divine Guard of the Tianxian domain. Moreover, he is the one who injured Sheng Wushuang. Thunder Palace Master explained. He was overjoyed. He was still thinking about how to use the Sheng family to get rid of Lu Ming. Now he realized that he did not need to do anything. The Sheng family would not let Lu Ming go. Lu Ming, let's see how you're going to die this time. Thunder Palace Master thought to himself coldly. So it's the same person. Haha, that's good. It saves us some trouble. Let me teach him a lesson. I'll destroy Lu Ming's cultivation and bring him back to the central region for young Master Xing Chen to deal with. A young man with dashing eyebrows laughed. Everyone, don't underestimate Lu Ming. His combat strength is terrifying. Not long ago, he defeated a genius who had just broken through to the Martial King realm as a half-step to Martial King realm. Thunder Palace Master said. Of course, he did not mention that the Martial King who was defeated was his disciple, as it would be too embarrassing. What? A half-emperor defeated a Martial King? Sheng Yao and the 4 geniuses of the Sheng family were astounded. How is this possible? How could a half-emperor defeat a real Martial King? The young man with dashing eyebrows could not believe it. It's true. Xing Wushuang was there too. He saw it too. Thunder Palace Master said. That's right, it's true. Lu Ming's combat strength is terrifying. Xing Wushuang said in a cold tone. A half-step king can actually defeat a king. Although he has just broken through to the king level, it is still incredible. Since that is the case, all the more we can't let him live. Xing Kong, Sheng Wei, both of you go and destroy Lu Ming's cultivation. Then take him down and bring him back to the central region. Xing Yao said, Don't worry, Elder. No matter how strong Lu Ming's combat strength is, he's only a half-emperor. I've already reached the early second-layer Martial King realm, and Sheng Wei's cultivation has reached the peak second-layer Martial King realm. Taking down Lu Ming will be a piece of cake, Xing Kong said confidently. Furthermore, they were all geniuses. Their combat strength was unmatched among their peers, and they could even fight those with higher cultivation levels. Lu Ming should be at the East Sky courtyard. I'll bring you there, Xing Wushuang immediately said. His heart trembled with excitement as soon as he imagined seeing Lu Ming being beaten like a dead dog. Lu Ming, you dared to injure me and take 30,000 peak spirit crystals from me. I'll make you pay 10 times the amount." Sheng Wushuang roared in his heart. He immediately brought Sheng Kong and Sheng Wei to the East Sky courtyard. As soon as Lu Ming returned to the East Sky courtyard, he sat down cross-legged and thought about the direction of his cultivation. "My thunder intent is progressing rapidly. It's almost at the middle stage of lesser success. However, my wind fire intent is progressing too slowly. I need to speed it up." Chapter 497. It's still too slow for me to improve these two essences quickly, even in the Enlightenment Palace. Only ultimacy crystals can help me improve these two essences quickly. But it's not realistic to buy a large amount of ultimacy crystals. Let's go to the mystical treasure house later. Ultimacy crystals were consumables that had miraculous effects on the comprehension of essences. It was too difficult to buy them, because everyone needed them and they would not save up. Once they bought them, they would use them up. It might be possible to buy a small amount, but it would be difficult to buy a large amount. The supreme spiritual crystals I have now should be enough for me to break through to LV2 Martial King realm. During this period of time, Lu Ming had obtained the storage ring of the bald, burly man and the storage rings of the 6 kings, including Xue Chao, during the battle at the Mystic Essence Sword Sect. He had obtained a lot of supreme spiritual crystals. Now, Lu Ming had another 150,000 supreme-grade spirit crystals. The most important thing in the Martial King realm was to comprehend the essences of heaven and earth. Only when the essences of heaven and earth had a breakthrough could one's cultivation break through. Once the essences of heaven and earth had a breakthrough, it would be much easier to improve one's cultivation. As long as one had enough resources and refined enough energy, they could break through their cultivation. Supreme spiritual crystals were undoubtedly the most suitable for this. Lu Ming had an advantage, which was the 9 dragons' bloodline. The speed at which he refined the supreme spiritual crystals was dozens or even hundreds of times faster than others. Now, let's improve my cultivation first. Lu Ming's thunder essence had already reached the initial success of level 1 essence. In other words, as long as Lu Ming had enough resources, he could break through to LV4 Martial King realm without any bottlenecks. Lu Ming waved his hands, and 10,000 pieces of supreme-grade spirit crystals appeared. Explode! Lu Ming's genuine essence spread out, and the 10,000 supreme spiritual crystals exploded. The spiritual qi of heaven and earth in the courtyard was extremely dense. Devour! The 9 dragons' bloodline appeared and inhaled. The spiritual qi of heaven and earth was swallowed by the 9 dragons' bloodline like water. The 9 dragons' bloodline began to refine rapidly. Even supreme spiritual crystals had impurities and required time to refine. At most, one could refine a few dozen or 100 spiritual crystals. However, Lu Ming refined tens of thousands of supreme-grade spirit crystals at the same time at a terrifying speed. If others saw this, they would be scared to death. Huff, huff! The 9 dragons' bloodline seemed to be breathing. With each breath, an incomparably pure energy would flow into Lu Ming's body, being absorbed by Lu Ming and transformed into true essence. Lu Ming's cultivation rose rapidly, approaching the late stage of LV1 Martial King realm. Soon, 10,000 supreme-grade spirit crystals were refined. Lu Ming took out another 10,000 supreme-grade spirit crystals and began to refine them. When Lu Ming refined 30,000 spirit crystals, Lu Ming's body shook and a dragon's roar could be heard. He had broken through to the late stage of Martial King realm. My God, it took me 30,000 top-grade spiritual crystals to reach the late stage of the first layer Martial Emperor realm from the middle stage of the first layer Martial Emperor realm. That's too much of a consumption of top-grade spiritual crystals. I still have 120,000 top-grade spiritual crystals left. I guess I can only reach the early stage of the second layer martial emperor realm at most. Lu Ming was speechless at the consumption of spiritual crystals. This consumption was too terrifying. How could ordinary people afford it? It doesn't matter, no matter how much resources I consume. Increasing my strength is the most important thing. Afterward, Lu Ming took out another 10,000 supreme-grade spirit crystals, exploded them, and began to devour and refine them. At this moment, Sheng Wushuang, Sheng Kong, and Sheng Wei arrived outside the East Sky courtyard. Brothers, this is the East Sky courtyard where Lu Ming lives. Lu Ming has just returned and should be inside. However, there is an inscription array outside the courtyard. Sheng Wushuang showed a flattering smile as he spoke to Sheng Kong and Sheng Wei. In the Sheng family, the difference between the status of a direct descendant and a branch descendant was too great. The Sheng family had been in the Tianqian domain for too long and had countless branch descendants. Many of them were no different from servants. Although Sheng Wushuang was extremely talented, he was nothing in the eyes of the Sheng family's direct descendant. Sheng Kong nodded slightly and said, "So what if there is an inscription array? Just blast it out." Having said that, Sheng Kong thrust out his palm. Between heaven and earth, the spiritual chi of the earth gathered in a frenzy, forming a large yellow hand. The hand was the size of a small mountain as it directly slammed down on the East Sky courtyard. Buzz! The East Sky courtyard flickered with light as inscriptions appeared, forming a light screen. Boom! The yellow hand slammed into the light screen. Although it didn't shatter the light screen, it still caused the East Sky courtyard to violently shake. At this moment, Lu Ming was in the middle of refining the spiritual chi of the spiritual crystals when the entire courtyard shook violently as if it was about to explode. This was too sudden. Lu Ming was shocked. In his shock, the vital essence in his body involuntarily went on a rampage. PFFF. Lu Ming's face turned red, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, who is it? How dare they attack the East Sky courtyard? Lu Ming roared inwardly and then circulated the true dragon battle art to stabilize his chaotic true yuan. Outside, Sheng Kong's palm shook the entire mountain. One figure after another flew up into the sky. Who is it? How dare they attack the East Sky courtyard? This is a violation of the rules. Look, that's Sheng Wushuang. Who is that person with him? The others burst into discussion. Who is it? How dare they attack the courtyard of another Empyrean Divine Guard? This is a violation of the rules. Follow me to the law enforcement hall to receive your punishment. A deacon flew over angrily and berated loudly. You're the one who's bold. The Sheng family's direct descendant is here to handle matters. Get lost. Sheng Kong shouted and then waved his hand. A purple gold jade token flew out and rapidly expanded. It flashed with light, and two golden words were engraved in the middle. Sheng Tian. The Sheng family's Sheng Tian token. The deacon's expression changed drastically. In the Sheng family, only the direct descendants of the Sheng family had the Sheng Tian token. Moreover, only the most outstanding of the Sheng family's direct descendants had it. It represented their status. The scene was in an uproar. A direct descendant of the Sheng family had appeared here? Was he here to stand up for Sheng Wushuang? How could Sheng Wushuang be so capable to invite a direct descendant of the Sheng family? Now get lost. Sheng Kong shouted. The deacon squeezed out an ugly smile. He glanced at the East Sky courtyard, clenched his teeth, and turned to leave. The rules were useful for ordinary people. But the Sheng family was one of the two strongest families of the Empyrean Divine Palace in the Tianqian region. Continue. Let's see if you can come out or not. Sheng Kong sent out another palm, and a huge palm smashed down on the East Sky courtyard, causing it to shake violently. Within the East Sky courtyard, killing intent exploded from Lu Ming's eyes. He immediately focused on stabilizing his true yuan. Boom! Boom! Shin Kong's palms were constantly smashing down. The Eastern Sky Monastery was like a small boat in a storm, constantly shaking. Lu Ming is done for. Sheng Wushuang actually managed to invite a direct descendant of the Sheng family. Look at their auras. They're unfathomable. They're definitely not ordinary kings. The way I see it, there's definitely something else. Just Sheng Wushuang alone wouldn't make a direct descendant of the Sheng family come so far to cause trouble for Lu Ming. Chapter 498. Shin Kong sent out 9 palms in a row. Just as he was about to send out the 10th palm, a roar came from the Eastern Sky Monastery. A crack appeared in the barrier, and a figure charged out. It's Lu Ming. He's charged out. Foolish, truly foolish. The Eastern Sky Monastery's grand formation can't be broken. If I were Lu Ming, I would hide in the Eastern Sky Monastery. That way, they wouldn't be able to do anything. Charging out now is just courting death. Lu Ming is young and full of vigor and talent. Now that he is being bullied, of course he can't hold it in. It's a pity that his opponent this time is a direct descendant of the Sheng family, a powerful king. Xue Chao can't be compared to him at all. Standing in the void, Lu Ming spotted Sheng Wushuang, Shen Kong, and Sheng Wei at a glance. Sheng Wushuang, it's you again. You're courting death, roared Lu Ming, his eyes emitting icy killing intent. Haha, Lu Ming, don't be so arrogant. This time the one to die is you, sneered Sheng Wushuang without the slightest fear. Shen Kong stepped forward, arrogantly looking at Lu Ming. So you're Lu Ming. Very good. I thought you would be like a coward hiding inside. Since you've come out, then cripple your own cultivation and follow me to the central region of the Tianqian region. Shen Kong clasped his hands behind his back, speaking in a commanding tone. Lu Ming looked at Shen Kong like he was looking at an idiot. Who is this fellow? Did he have a problem with his head? As soon as he came out, he told Lu Ming to cripple his own cultivation and follow him. Who did he think he was? And so Lu Ming indifferently said, Where did this wild dog come from? Why are you barking in front of my door? Do you want to be my guard dog? What did you say? As soon as Lu Ming said that, Shen Kong was stunned. Lu Ming actually dared to speak to him in this manner? Bastard, do you know who I am? Listen carefully. I'm a member of the Sheng family, a direct descendant of the Sheng family. Now, kneel down and admit your mistake. Slap yourself 100 times and cripple your own cultivation. Shen Kong shouted. What bullshit, Sheng family. I've never heard of it. Just now it was you who attacked the Eastern Sky Monastery, right? Very well, you attacked me with 9 palms just now. I will slap you 9 times before you can leave, Lu Ming said indifferently. Everyone nearby was dumbfounded. Lu Ming's arrogance knew no bounds. To think that he would be so arrogant in front of a direct descendant of the Saint family, this was practically courting death. Even without the name of the sacred clan, the other party was still a powerful martial king. Lu Ming was simply courting death. However, they didn't know that Lu Ming had never heard of the Holy Clan. Moreover, with Lu Ming's character, even if he knew, he would still have the same attitude. Shen Kong, Sheng Wei, and the others were also dumbfounded, especially Shen Kong, whose face was flushed red and his body was emitting an extremely strong killing intent. He was so angry that his body was trembling. He glared at Lu Ming and shouted, Little bastard, you're courting death. You're courting death. No one can save you. Boom! A tsunami-like aura burst out from Shen Kong's body. A terrifying pressure spread out for 10 miles. What a strong aura. That's a 2nd-level martial king. Who is it? Who dares to attack the residents of the Di Tian Divine Guards? Figures rushed out from a mountain in the distance. Those who lived in the mountain were the previous generation of Di Tian Divine Guards. Many of them had even broken through to the martial king realm. Whoosh! Whoosh! These Di Tian Divine Guards also flew over. When they found out that it was a direct descendant of the Sheng family, they were all shocked. No one dared to interfere. "Now kneel down." Shin Kong roared and took a step forward. With a wave of his palm, a huge khaki-colored palm pressed down on Lu Ming. "How strong?" "That's a second-level martial king. His strength is definitely at the top among the second-level martial kings. He's a peerless genius. Lu Ming is done for. This person is more than 10 times stronger than Xue Chao." As soon as Shen Kong attacked, various thoughts flashed through the minds of the people around him. What's there to be proud of with a mere second-level martial king? Just as the giant yellow palm was about to hit Lu Ming's calm voice was heard. Then Lu Ming threw a punch, and the huge, khaki-colored palm exploded as though it was made of tofu. Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared in front of Shin Kong in a flash. Shin Kong had never imagined that Lu Ming would be able to break his attack so easily and appear before him so quickly. According to Palace Master Lei and Shang Wushuang, wasn't Lu Ming just a half-step martial king 2 months ago? How could a half-step martial king be so strong? Therefore, it was too late for him to dodge. Lu Ming raised his hand and threw out a slap. Slap. The crisp sound of a slap could be heard from afar. Shin Kong was slapped so hard that he spun more than 10 rounds on the spot. He then looked at Lu Ming with a dumbstruck expression. He was completely dumbfounded. The others were dumbfounded too. Their eyes were wide open as they stared at Shin Kong. Lu Ming had slapped Shin Kong. How did he do it? Shin Kong's aura had reached the second-level martial king realm. Everyone thought they were dreaming. First slap, 8 more to go. The crowd only woke up when Lu Ming's calm voice was heard. Hiss, then, the sound of people sucking in cold air could be heard. Martial king, martial king. To be able to break Shen Kong's attack and slap him, he was definitely a martial king. Lu Ming had reached the martial king realm. How was this possible? Wasn't this speed too fast? Not long ago, when Lu Ming had challenged Xue Chao, he was only a half-step martial king. In less than 2 months, Lu Ming had reached the martial king realm. He was simply a monster. One should know that even peerless geniuses had to stay in the half-step martial king realm for a period of time. The shortest was a year, and the longest was several years before they could break through to the martial king realm. Moreover, the success rate was not high. Now, Lu Ming had achieved the emperor realm in just a few months' time. Furthermore, he had slapped a second-layer martial emperor realm genius in the face. This was unbelievable. Sheng Wushuang was so shocked that his eyes were about to explode. His body was trembling violently. A few months ago, his words of reprimanding Lu Ming were still vivid in his mind. Now, Lu Ming had completely left him in the dust. "H, you're courting death, you're courting death!" Shin Kong finally reacted and let out a frenzied cry. "Pa!" Lu Ming waved his hand and slapped Shin Kong's face again. Shin Kong's cry came to an abrupt stop as his body was sent flying into the distance. "Courting death!" On the side, Sheng Wei let out a furious roar as a terrifying aura erupted from his body. Around his body, wisps of crimson flames filled the air as a blazing aura spread out, burning the space until it was distorted. The aura of a second-level martial king. Fiery dragon fist. Sheng Wei roared and threw a punch. A flaming dragon pounced toward Lu Ming, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. Its power was terrifying. Even an early-stage, third-level martial king would not dare to take this attack head-on. Without a doubt, Sheng Wei was a peerless genius. Even at the martial king realm, he was able to fight those above his level. True dragon strike. The demon-suppressing spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand. He thrust out the spear, and a 3-colored dragon danced in the air. Chapter 499. Boom! There was an earth-shattering explosion, and a dragon's roar resounded throughout the area. In the end, the fiery dragon was no match for the dragon. It exploded and disappeared into thin air. Roar! Although the tricolor dragon had shrunk significantly, it still charged toward Sheng Wei. Sheng Wei's body shook violently as he retreated frantically. There was dead silence at the scene. Lu Ming was too powerful. Not only had he broken through to the Martial King realm, but Sheng Wei, who was at the peak of LV2 Martial King realm, was no match for him. This was unbelievable. Boom! Lu Ming strode forward and waved his hand. A huge palm print shrouded Shen Kong. "Let's attack together!" Shen Kong roared. On the other side, Sheng Wei had also recovered his breath. He unleashed his full strength and charged toward Lu Ming. The combined power of the two was extremely terrifying. However, it was all in vain. Boom! Boom! After a few explosions, Sheng Wei coughed out blood and retreated like a cannonball. Then there was another crisp slap. Lu Ming had slapped Shen Kong's face again. The third slap. Lu Ming's calm voice was heard. "Die, die, you little bastard. I want you to die without a burial place." Shen Kong roared like a madman. He was about to lose his mind. Who was he? He was a direct descendant of the Sheng family and a peerless genius. He had grown up with a silver spoon in his mouth. Who dared to treat him like this? Right now, he had been slapped 3 times by Lu Ming in front of everyone. This was simply more unbearable than death. "You talk too much. Fight!" Lu Ming moved and charged toward Shen Kong again. Shen Kong roared in anger and attacked Lu Ming like a madman. However, it was useless. Slap! He was slapped hard on the face again. It was crisp and clear. The 4th slap. Lu Ming's calm voice was heard again. Ah! Shen Kong roared wildly. He was on the verge of a mental breakdown. The others felt a chill in their gums. It was as if they had been slapped in the face. "Lu Ming, quickly release Shen Kong. Do you know that you've already caused a disaster?" Sheng Wei roared from the side. His face was filled with shock, and he didn't dare to help. "What a joke. I just gave him a few slaps, and it's a disaster? Just now, he attacked the Eastern Sky Monastery. Why don't you say he caused a calamity?" Lu Ming sneered and chided. "Lu Ming, do you know that we are direct descendants of the Sheng family? We are different from you." Sheng Wei roared. Especially the direct descendants of the Sheng family. What bullshit direct descendant of the Holy Family? In my eyes, he's worthless. Pah! As soon as Lu Ming said that, Lu Ming slapped Shen Kong's face again. The 5th slap. Pah! The 6th slap. The 7th slap. The applause continued. Everyone at the scene was dumbfounded as they stared blankly at the scene, especially Sheng Wushuang. His face was completely drained of blood, and his body was trembling from fear. At this moment, Shen Kong's face was swollen like a pig's head. His meridians were sealed, and he had lost all ability to resist. "Stop!" When Lu Ming finished his 8th slap and was about to deliver his 9th slap, an earth-shaking roar came from afar. "Haha, Lu Ming, you're dead for sure. Why haven't you released Shen Kong yet?" Sheng Wei was overjoyed when he heard that voice. That voice belonged to Elder Shen Yao. Lu Ming frowned, and a trace of coldness flashed in his eyes. His palm didn't stop as he delivered his 9th slap. Pah! Shen Kong was sent flying by the impact. "How dare you? You're courting death." That voice rang out again, filled with rage and incomparably cold, killing intent. Shua! Shua! 2 figures appeared at the scene. One was the Thunder Hall Master, and the other was the Sheng family's elder, Shen Yao. At this moment, their eyes were filled with terrifying killing intent. "Damn it! That little bastard Lu Ming has broken through to the Martial King realm, and his battle strength is so strong. Chow! Chong Kong. And the others must be in deep trouble." The Thunder Hall Master roared in his heart. Previously, he had thought that someone was helping Lu Ming, but now it was proven that Lu Ming didn't need anyone's help. The experts he had sent were no match for Lu Ming. He had already tried his best to overestimate Lu Ming. He had set up a series of traps and even sent a third-level Martial King and 4 second-level Martial King experts to deal with Lu Ming, a half-step king. This was simply a trap that was impossible to fail, but had failed. "Little bastard, I told you to stop. Didn't you hear me?" Xing Yao stared coldly at Lu Ming. "Didn't I stop?" Lu Ming smiled faintly. "Lu Ming, do you know who this is? This is the Sheng family's elder. You dare to quibble in front of the Sheng family's elder? You're courting death. Furthermore, you dared to injure the Sheng family's elites. You've already committed a great crime. Why don't you kneel down and cripple your own cultivation and admit your guilt?" The Thunder Hall master berated. "Admit my guilt? Hee, that guy attacked the East Sky courtyard without any reason. According to the rules, he should be punished. I only retaliated. What crime am I guilty of?" Lu Ming replied indifferently without any fear. "Shut up. Who do you think you are? How can a lowly life be compared to the Sheng family's direct descendant? Kneel down and admit your guilt." The Thunder Hall master yelled. "I'll kneel down to your mother. Old man, if you treat yourself as a dog, don't treat others as dogs. If you want to kneel down and lick the Sheng family's elders' feet, go back and slowly kneel down." Lu Ming yelled. He was originally filled with killing intent towards the Thunder Hall master. Now that the Thunder Hall master was calling him a little bastard and asking him to kneel down and admit his guilt, Lu Ming was infuriated. He didn't give him any face. The other Empyrean divine guards were dumbfounded. This Lu Ming was simply too daring. He actually dared to curse the Thunder Hall master in front of so many people. As expected, the Thunder Hall master's face flushed red. His body trembled with rage. He pointed at Lu Ming and roared, "Disgraceful! Disgraceful! Brother Zheng, why waste words with him? Take him down and cripple his cultivation." Sheng Yao coldly shouted. He raised his hand, and a terrifying concept of fire erupted. It formed a giant flaming hand that grabbed at Lu Ming. The world was scorching hot. They were both using the concept of fire, but Sheng Wei was trash when compared to Sheng Yao. The difference was like heaven and earth. There was simply no way to compare them. Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed. He could feel a terrifying aura of death approaching him. This aura was too strong. It wasn't something he could resist. The difference was too great. "Let's go." The divine guard token glowed. Behind Lu Ming, the East Sky courtyard's protective light screen cracked open. Lu Ming directly rushed in. Then the light screen reformed. "Hide? Is it useful to hide in there? Break for me!" Sheng Yao coldly shouted. Boom! The giant flaming hand slammed into the East Sky courtyard's light screen. The light screen shook violently. The entire mountain shook violently as if it was about to explode. But in the end, the light screen still managed to block this attack. Again. Chapter 500. The giant flaming palm was as big as a mountain as it slammed down on the East Sky courtyard. Boom! The East Sky courtyard shook violently. The light screen outside was also shaking violently as if it would explode at any moment. Although the light screen blocked the giant flaming palm, there was still a terrifying force that seeped into the light screen. In the courtyard, Lu Ming felt a strong impact. Bam! The terrifying force hit Lu Ming, causing Lu Ming to cough up blood. Sheng Yao was too strong. Although only a trace of force had seeped into the light screen, it was enough to injure Lu Ming. This old man. Lu Ming gritted his teeth. He wanted to enter the Temple of Paragon, but he realized that he couldn't. Damn, is there a need to do this? This old man is not someone I can fight against. Why can't I enter? Lu Ming was speechless. Little bastard, I can still cripple you even if you hide inside. Sheng Yao shouted coldly outside and slammed his palm out again. This time, it formed a giant palm that was several times bigger than before. It grabbed the entire East Sky courtyard and pulled it out forcefully. He wanted to uproot the entire East Sky courtyard. Rumble. The East Sky courtyard shook violently as waves of force seeped in. Lu Ming's body was under great pressure, and cracking sounds could be heard. All the bones in his body were about to break. Stop! Stop now! At this moment, a few figures flew over at an incredible speed. Before they could finish their words, they had already appeared not far away. Palace Masters, 3 Palace Masters, Wind Palace Master, Fire Palace Master, and Metal Palace Master. Many Tian divine guards shouted. Xingyao, stop! Attacking other Tian divine guards like this has already violated the rules of the Tian divine palace. Stop now! The palace masters shouted one after another. How can you interrupt the Sheng family's matters? Get lost! Shang Yao was extremely domineering. He still shouted at the palace masters. You! The 3 palace masters looked at the East Sky courtyard that was covered by the giant flaming palm and looked worried. Xingyao, you have already broken the rules. As the palace masters of the Tianxian domain's Eastern Branch Palace, we have the responsibility to stop you. The palace master of wind shouted. Boom! 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 The wind, fire, and metal palace masters struck out at the same time. 3 mighty attacks blasted towards holy glory. You overestimate yourself. Xingyao's eyes turned cold. A fiery red saber appeared in his other hand, and he slashed out. 1,000-meter-long flaming saber radiance slashed out violently, as if it could split open the sky. The attacks of the 3 palace masters crumbled under the blazing saber radiance. The expressions of the 3 palace masters changed drastically, and they quickly retreated. Peak King, Xingyao, you've broken through to the Peak King level? The Wind Hall leader and the others exclaimed. That's right. Do you still want to stop me? Xingyao said coldly. The Wind Hall leader and the others wore unpleasant expressions. A Peak King was already half a step into the first level of the Spirit God realm, the Spirit Ocean realm. Although the 3 of them were all kings, even if they joined forces, they would not be a match for a Peak King. Rumble. Although the inscription array around the Eastern Sky courtyard was profound, it was on the verge of collapsing under Shan Yao's attacks and was about to be pulled out. Lu Ming. Although the Wind Palace Master and the others were extremely anxious, there was nothing they could do against Shan Yao, who had already broken through to the Peak King level. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming! You dare disrespect this old man? Only death awaits you. The Wind Palace Master sneered inwardly. As for Sheng Wushuang, he was also ecstatic. Dai, Lu Ming, no matter how arrogant you are, what use is it in front of the Sheng family? In the Tianxian domain, apart from the Mu family, the Sheng family is the sky. They are everything. Sheng Wushuang laughed wildly in his heart. Just at this moment, a light breeze blew by, and the flame hand covering the Eastern Sky Monastery dissipated at a speed visible to the naked eye, turning into nothingness. The Eastern Sky courtyard regained its calm. Puff! Within the Eastern Sky courtyard, Lu Ming spat out several mouthfuls of blood. His clothes were stained with blood, and his face was pale and his aura weak. Just a moment ago, he had already been heavily injured. Old man! Lu Ming cursed as he lay on the ground. Outside the Eastern Sky courtyard, Shang Yao's expression changed. Mu Zheng! A solemn voice sounded from Shang Yao's mouth. Without a sound, an old man in a green robe appeared with a faint smile on his face. This subordinate greets the Palace Master. The Wind Palace Master, Fire Palace Master, and the others, including the Thunder Palace Master, immediately bowed when they saw this elder. What, Palace Master? Ah, could it be the Palace Master of the Eastern Palace of the Tianxian domain? At this moment, many of the Empyrean divine guards were shocked. The Palace Master of the Eastern Palace of the Tianxian domain was extremely elusive, and very few people had seen him before. Who would have thought that he would appear today? This subordinate greets the palace master. The Empyrean divine guards present all bowed to the elder in green robes. Damn it, wasn't Mu Zheng in seclusion? Why did he come out? Damn it! The Thunder Palace master roared in his heart. You don't have to be so polite. Mu Zheng waved his sleeves, and a breeze blew. Everyone felt a gentle force supporting them as they straightened their bodies. Palace master? Is the palace master here? In the eastern sky courtyard, Lu Ming naturally heard the commotion outside, and his expression changed. Thereafter, he struggled to get up and walked out of the eastern sky courtyard. As soon as Lu Ming walked out, everyone's eyes turned to look at Lu Ming. This little bastard is still alive? He can still move. The Thunder Palace master thought to himself. The Wind Palace master and the others heaved a sigh of relief. As for Sheng Yao, his eyes were filled with murderous intent. Mu Zheng, you came at the right time. This little bastard offended his superiors, contradicted his elders, and even injured the elites of the Shang family. He deserves to die. Now, take him down and hand him over to me for punishment in the central region. Xing Yao said coldly. Xing Yao, don't try to act like this in front of me. Do you think I don't know the face of the Shang family? Lu Ming beat up the people of the Shang family. That was your own fault. Who can you blame for your own incompetence? Do you have to contradict your elders? As an elder, if you don't do what an elder should do, shouldn't you contradict them? You can even hit them. Mu Zheng smiled faintly and glanced at the Thunder Palace master. The Thunder Palace master's face immediately turned pale, and his heart turned cold. Mu Zheng, it seems like you must interfere today. Xing Yao's face turned ugly as he shouted. This is the eastern palace of the Tianqin domain, and it is under my jurisdiction. What do you think if you cause trouble here? Mu Zheng said. Good, very good. Mu Zheng, I heard that you are about to open your spiritual sea and break through to the Sea of Soul Realm. Today I will give it a try. Xing Yao's eyes revealed a trace of battle intent. Let's fight in the sky. Mu Zheng's reply was simple. Swish, swish. Mu Zheng and Sheng Yao's figures flashed as they rushed into the sky. Boom! Immediately after, an earth-shattering explosion sounded in the sky, and a powerful pressure spread out for hundreds of miles. Chapter 501. High up in the sky, it was as if a sun had exploded. A blazing storm descended from high up in the sky. Not good. The Wind Hall Master, Fire Hall Master, and several others moved and appeared above the crowd. With a wave of their hands, they formed a light screen that blocked the raging firestorm in the sky. Boom! 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 Following which, terrifying explosions rang out continuously in the sky. Those with lower cultivations could only feel their eardrums ringing. Their faces turned pale, and they almost vomited blood. Those who were martial kings and above stared at the sky. However, most of them could not see the figures clearly. They could only see a ball of green energy and a ball of red energy clashing against each other. Every time they clashed, there would be an earth-shattering explosion. The blazing light even covered the sun in the sky. Fortunately, the two of them were fighting in the sky. If they were fighting on the ground within 100 miles would have been cracked. Is this the strength of a Peking? They are indeed very strong. Lu Ming raised his head and looked at the sky, clenching his fists tightly. This strength was indeed much stronger than his current strength. However, he was not discouraged at all. Instead, there was a burning desire to fight in his eyes. Give me 2 years, and I will definitely surpass that old man. Lu Ming muttered. The battle in the sky continued, and it became more and more intense. In the end, green and red light filled the entire sky. The people below could no longer see what was happening above. About 2 minutes later, the green and red light dissipated, and 2 figures flew down from the sky. They were Mu Zheng and Shen Yao. However, Sheng Yao was in a sorry state now. He was panting heavily and his face was pale. There was even a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. On the other hand, Mu Zheng was breathing calmly. His face was rosy and his clothes were neat. He was completely fine. Sheng Yao, I will let you off this time. Let's go. Leave the east of Tianqian region. Mu Zheng said. Ha, good. Very good. Mu Zheng, do you think you can protect this little bastard? You are too naive. If my Sheng family wants him dead, he will die. Sheng Yao shouted. Sheng Yao, do you think that the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace belongs to your Sheng clan? The ruler of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace is Emperor Di. We're just helping Emperor Di manage his territory. If the Holy Clan acts like this sooner or later, you'll get into trouble. Mu Jing shouted. Mu Zheng, my Sheng clan is loyal and devoted. You don't need to use Martial Emperor Di to pressure me. I'll say it right here. You can help him once, but you can't help him a second time, offending my Sheng clan. Your fate is already sealed. Sheng Yao shouted coldly. Then he looked at Lu Ming and said coldly, Little bastard, just you wait. You won't live for long. Old man, I was just about to say this to you. I'll remember what happened today. You better wash your neck clean and wait. Sooner or later, I'll chop off your head. Lu Ming retorted, sarcastically giving tit for tat. Ha! Sheng Yao laughed out of anger. Cold killing intent burst out from his body as he stared at Lu Ming and said, It's useless to be sharp-tongued. Just you wait. Let's go back to the Sheng clan. Sheng Yao waved his hand and led the way to the exit of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Shin Kong and Sheng Wei glanced at Lu Ming viciously. Then they followed Sheng Yao and left in an instant. Elder, wait for me. Xing Wushuang's face turned pale with fright. He didn't dare to stay here. If Sheng Yao and the others left, he would be in trouble. Therefore, he left with Sheng Yao and the others. That little bastard, he managed to escape again. Palace Master lay cursed in his heart. Then he left the place. The storm ended with Mu Zheng's arrival. Junior Lu Ming greets the Palace Master. Thank you for saving my life. Lu Ming came to Mu Zheng and cupped his fists. However, his mind was spinning rapidly. Mu Zheng's surname is also Mu. I wonder how he is related to Mulin's. Mu Zheng revealed a gentle smile and said, You don't have to thank me. This is the Eastern Palace of the Tianqian domain, and you are my Emperor Heaven Divine Guard. I should help you. At this moment, Palace Master Feng, Palace Master Hua, and Palace Master Jean also came forward. Lu Ming, are you all right? Palace Master Feng asked worriedly. Thank you for your concern, Palace Master Feng. It's just a small injury. It's nothing serious, Lu Ming said. That's good. Palace Master Feng and the others heaved a sigh of relief. Lu Ming, this spirit-enhancing pill is good for healing. Take it and go back to heal your injuries. Also, you have to increase your strength as soon as possible. I reckon that the Sheng clan won't let this go. Mu Zheng looked at Lu Ming and said, Thank you, Palace Master. Lu Ming didn't refuse. He took the pill and bowed. Then he turned around and returned to the East Sky courtyard. Everyone go back and cultivate. Mu Zheng waved his hand. The onlookers all dispersed. In the end, only Mu Zheng was left. At this moment, a young man in a white robe stepped in the air and appeared beside Mu Zheng. If Lu Ming was here, he would definitely recognize this young man. This young man was Mu Xuan, the one who had warned Lu Ming when he had just joined the Emperor God Palace. Sixth uncle. Mu Shiyuan bowed beside Mu Zheng. Mu Zheng looked at the east sky courtyard and frowned. After a while he sighed, There's a limit to how much we can help that girl. The rest is up to them. Sixth uncle, you don't have to worry too much. I think that Lu Ming's talent is extremely terrifying. In a few years, he might be able to fight against the Sheng clan, Mu Shiyuan said. I'm afraid that he won't be able to wait for a few years. Mu Zheng sighed. Mu Shiyuan remained silent. Forget it. Let's leave it to their luck. Let's go. Mu Zheng sighed and left with Mu Shiyuan. Lu Ming walked into the east sky courtyard and sat down cross-legged. He took out the elixir that Mu Zheng had given him and swallowed it. Once the elixir entered his mouth, it turned into a crystal-clear liquid and slid down his throat. Then it turned into a warm energy that spread throughout Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's injured body rapidly recovered. His cracked bones were also healing rapidly. What a mysterious healing elixir. This healing elixir is probably an upper-grade LV5 elixir. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Then he circulated the true dragon battle art and combined it with the elixir's medicinal power to heal his injured body. Lu Ming's injuries were recovering rapidly. A day later, Lu Ming's injuries were completely healed. Lu Ming took a bath in the small stream in the courtyard. He washed off the blood scabs on his body, revealing his bronze skin. Then Lu Ming changed into a black robe and looked energetic. Why did the Shang clan do this? Why did they suddenly find trouble with me and want to bring me to the central region? Is it because I beat up Sheng Wushuang? Lu Ming sat cross-legged and thought to himself, this matter was a little strange. If it was because of a grudge with Sheng Wushuang, the Sheng clan wouldn't have made such a big fuss. Even a Peak King was involved. How was that possible? Lu Ming was a little confused about this matter. Forget it. If I can't figure it out, I won't think about it. Now, I'll continue to refine the spiritual crystals and increase my cultivation. Lu Ming took out another 10,000 supreme grade spiritual crystals and exploded them. He began to devour the spiritual qi within the crystals to increase his cultivation. Soon, he finished devouring the 10,000 supreme grade spiritual crystals. He took out another 10,000 and continued to devour them. Chapter 502. In addition to the 10,000 supreme spiritual crystals he had wasted due to Sheng Kong's interruption, Lu Ming had spent a total of 70,000 supreme spiritual crystals to raise his cultivation from the mid-first layer Martial King realm to the peak first layer Martial King realm. Lu Ming was left with 80,000 supreme grade spirit crystals. Now, let's break through to the second layer Martial King realm. With a wave of his hand, another dense pile of spiritual crystals appeared in the air. This time, Lu Ming took out 20,000 supreme grade spirit crystals at one go. Bang! Bang! The supreme spiritual crystals exploded one after another like fireworks. Rich qi filled the air and was absorbed by the 9 dragons' bloodline. The vast energy turned into rolling true yuan as Lu Ming began to break through to the second layer Martial King realm. Soon, all 20,000 supreme spiritual crystals were refined. Lu Ming took out another 20,000 supreme spiritual crystals. Almost there, almost there. Just one more step and I'll be able to break through to the second layer Martial King realm. This time, Lu Ming waved his hands and took out 30,000 pieces of supreme grade spirit crystals. 30,000 supreme spiritual crystals were extremely powerful as he began to break through to the second layer Martial King realm. Half a day later, boom! With a loud explosion, Lu Ming's aura skyrocketed. He had broken through to the second layer Martial King realm. Such powerful true yuan. It's 3 times more powerful than the first layer Martial King realm. Lu Ming pondered as he felt the powerful true yuan in his body. No wonder there was a huge gap between each layer of the Martial King realm. Now, I only have 10,000 supreme grade spiritual crystals left. This is really a big expense. Lu Ming exclaimed. Of course, this was only for him. Other people would not need so many supreme spiritual crystals. Furthermore, Lu Ming's thunder had already reached the first layer lesser success, which was why he could break through to the next level without any worries. Normally, people would have to work hard to comprehend the will of heaven and earth. As the will of heaven and earth improved, their cultivation would also improve. However, Lu Ming's will of heaven and earth improved so much. If only I had enough supreme spiritual crystals, my cultivation could reach the fourth layer Martial King realm and become a lesser success Martial King realm. Lu Ming thought to himself. However, he immediately shook his head. Leveling up to LV1 Martial King realm required so many supreme spiritual crystals. Leveling up to LV2 Martial King realm and LV3 Martial King realm would require a terrifying amount of supreme spiritual crystals. Looks like I'll have to think of a way to get more resources. And that Dandan, ever since it ate the heavenly tribulation last time, it hasn't done anything. I wonder how it's doing? Lu Ming picked up the Dandan, hanging in his hair, and looked at it carefully. If it wasn't for the layer of sparkling luster on the eggshell and the life force that was seeping out of the stone egg, Lu Ming was really afraid that something had happened to the Dandan. After all, it had eaten a heavenly tribulation. Right at this moment, Lu Ming's expression changed. With a wave of his hand, a jade box appeared on the ground. Inside the jade box, there were 2 pieces of pitch-black, withered branches. There was also half a box of spring water. There was originally a whole box of spring water, but now there was only half a box left. Among the 2 pieces of pitch-black, withered branches soaked in the spring water, one of them had a bud growing on one end. Yes, one of the pieces of withered branches had come alive and grown a bud. The bud was shining with a little luster, making it look crystal clear. However, what surprised Lu Ming the most was that the bud was emitting a mysterious aura. Under this aura, Lu Ming's mind was extraordinarily clear, as if he had abandoned everything and was immersed in the Tao of heaven and earth. In the past, he was able to figure out some of the things that he didn't understand about martial arts very quickly. Comprehending Tao. In this state, Lu Ming seemed to be comprehending Tao. Amazing, too amazing. What's the origin of this withered branch? It's only a bud, but it can help me comprehend Tao. Lu Ming was astonished. Now, let's comprehend the Tao of heaven and earth. Immediately, Lu Ming closed his eyes and began to comprehend the Tao of wind. Immediately, Lu Ming felt that his perception of the Tao of wind was very clear. The speed of his comprehension was at least 10 times faster than before. Heavens, this is too amazing. Lu Ming's eyes stared at the bud. At this time, Lu Ming saw that on the bud there was a mysterious pattern. It looked like a real dragon, a phoenix, a qilin, and other ancient divine beasts. It was incomparably mysterious. According to the legends, in the ancient times there was a kind of spiritual root of heaven and earth called the Tao comprehending spiritual root. This kind of spiritual root grew into spiritual trees of different shapes. This kind of spiritual tree was called the Tao comprehending ancient tree. According to the legends, in the ancient times, the most powerful people in the world would plant a Tao comprehending ancient tree beside them to help with their cultivation. Could it be that this withered branch fell from one of the Tao comprehending ancient trees? Lu Ming suddenly thought of a legend. Thinking of this legend, Lu Ming's heart burned with passion. It can't be true, right? If it's true, then I'm going to be rich. Lu Ming found it hard to believe. After all, there were too few Tao comprehending ancient trees. In the ancient times, only the most powerful people in the world could control one. Those powerful people were unbelievably strong. Today's martial emperors were like ants in front of those powerful people. Secret, it must be a secret. No matter if it's true or not, I can't let anyone know. Otherwise, I'll be dead. Lu Ming knew that if this branch was really the Tao comprehending ancient tree, the whole divine region would be in an uproar. Those martial emperors would definitely seize the Tao comprehending ancient tree at all costs. Right now, he had only grown one bud, and his comprehension speed had increased by 10 times. What would happen if he grew 2, 3, or even more? How much help would it be to Lu Ming? Immediately, Lu Ming put the jade box into the Temple of Paragon and entered the Temple of Paragon. No matter if it's the real Tao comprehending ancient tree, It can increase one's comprehension speed by 10 times. This alone is invaluable. Haha, I'm going to be rich. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Then, Lu Ming began to comprehend various martial techniques. Indeed, under the cover of the mysterious aura of the bud, Lu Ming's mind was very clear. Whether it was comprehending martial techniques or the essence of heaven and earth, his comprehension speed was increased by 10 times. Cultivate. Let's start cultivating. Lu Ming put the jade box beside him and began to comprehend the essence of wind. He planned to condense the essence of wind into an essence rune. In terms of attack, he had the thunder essence for now. As long as he could condense the essence of wind into an essence rune, his speed would increase greatly. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. Lu Ming's comprehension of the essence of wind increased rapidly. It was equivalent to the result of 1 month's comprehension in the past. However, Lu Ming still felt that it was too slow. If I use the Tao comprehending ancient tree in the Tao comprehending palace, won't my comprehension speed be even faster? Lu Ming couldn't help but think. Regardless of whether it was the real Tao comprehending ancient tree, Lu Ming called it the Tao comprehending ancient tree. It felt good to call it that. Chapter 503. The Tao Enlightenment Palace cost 100 supreme grade spirit crystals a day. Lu Ming booked it for 2 months and spent 6,000 supreme grade spirit crystals. After entering Tao Enlightenment Palace, the Tao of heaven and earth floated. Finally, the 3 essences of wind, fire, and thunder appeared. Lu Ming took out the Enlightenment ancient tree and placed it in front of him. Then he threw away the fire and thunder essences and focused on comprehending the wind essence. After a while, Lu Ming opened his eyes and joy flashed in his eyes. Sure enough, the Enlightenment ancient tree could be combined with the essences here. It made Lu Ming's comprehension speed faster. It was at least 30 times faster than before. 30 times. That was to say, Lu Ming comprehended it for 1 day, which was equivalent to 1 month in the past. 1 day was equivalent to 1 month. How amazing was that? Immediately, Lu Ming raced against time to comprehend it. Time passed day by day. Lu Ming's comprehension of the wind essence increased rapidly. 1 month later, it was equivalent to 2.5 years of Lu Ming's previous cultivation time. After 2.5 years of comprehending the wind essence, he finally comprehended the wind essence to the point where he could condense essence runes. Condense the essence runes. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Buzz. The wind essence spread out and then completely converged. It began to condense in Lu Ming's mind. 2 hours later, an inch-long cyan rune was condensed successfully. This time, there were no heavenly tribulations. It was calm. Just like that, Lu Ming successfully condensed the 2nd essence rune. So cool. It's so cool to comprehend here. If I have enough top-grade spirit crystals, I can cultivate in seclusion here for a few years. Then, I'll be able to comprehend a concept to the completion of the 1st level. Lu Ming sighed secretly. However, it's still too slow. I don't have much time left. It's been 1.5 years, almost 2 years. Even at this speed, I won't be able to fight against Martial Emperor Di when the 10 years are up. It still needs to be faster. The more leaves the tree of enlightenment grows, the stronger its ability to help people comprehend the Tao. It seems that in the future I have to find more treasures like spiritual liquid that can cultivate spiritual herbs to speed up the growth of the tree of enlightenment. Lu Ming's mind was filled with various thoughts. Shaking his head, Lu Ming temporarily suppressed these thoughts and continued to comprehend. This time, he began to comprehend the fire essence rune. In the blink of an eye, more than 20 days fire spiritual essence rune and spiritual fire essence rune. On this day, the surrounding space started trembling slightly. You want to teleport me out? What's going on? There's still a few more days. Rune's rune? Lu Ming waved his hand and put away the martial Tao ancient tree, full of doubts. Whoa. After a dozen breaths, the space trembled and Lu Ming's figure disappeared. In the next moment, he appeared outside the Tao Comprehension Palace. Lu Ming, the envoy of the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace, is here. He has something important to discuss with you, so we can only let you come out early. You still have 6 days. I'll return these 600 spiritual crystals to you. One of the guardian elders of the Tao Comprehension Palace waved his hand, and the 600 spiritual crystals flew towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming stretched out his hand to catch them, but his heart was filled with doubts. The envoy of the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace? Lu Ming frowned. The Heavenly Profound Branch Palace was the headquarters of the Heavenly Divine Palace in the Tianjin region. It was said that in the beginning a large region only had one Heavenly Divine Palace branch palace. For example, in the Tianjin region, there was only one Heavenly Divine Palace branch palace in the center of the Tianjin region, the most prosperous place. Later, because a large region was too vast, they set up some smaller Heavenly Divine Palaces in various places. In the Tianjin region, there was a small Heavenly Divine Palace branch palace in the east, south, west, and north. However, the real core was still in the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace. The 4 Heavenly Profound Branch Palaces had to listen to the orders of the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace. Now, the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace had sent an envoy to find him? Could it be the Sheng family? Lu Ming's heart stirred. He thought of the Sheng family. This was the only possibility. Is the Sheng family finally going to make a move? I would like to see what kind of methods you will use. A sharp light flashed across Lu Ming's eyes. Swoosh! At this moment, a figure rushed over from afar and appeared in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming, you have finally come out of seclusion. Go to the mission hall now. There is a mission for you. The person who came was a middle-aged deacon of the mission hall. He spoke at this moment. Senior, I wonder what kind of mission it is for me to come out of seclusion in such a hurry. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, Sigh. Lu Ming, I will not hide it from you. A few months ago, the Heavenly Corpse sect invaded the Tianjin region. In the central region of the Tianjin region, they had many battles with the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace and suffered heavy losses. This time, the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace issued an order to the other 4 branches to transfer a portion of the Emperor's Sky Divine Guards to the central region. This time, your name is on the list. The middle-aged deacon had a good impression of Lu Ming and explained to Lu Ming in detail. My name is on the list? Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Logically speaking, the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace only needed to give the Eastern Branch Palace a specific number and number of experts for the Eastern Branch Palace to arrange. Why would they specify his name? This was obviously intentional. Lu Ming was certain that this was the doing of the Sheng family. Then, the 2 of them headed to the mission hall. Lu Ming. In front of the mission hall, Lu Ming saw the Hall Master of Wind. Hall Master. The middle-aged deacon bowed to the Hall Master of Wind. The Hall Master of Wind nodded and said, You can go in first. I have something to say to Lu Ming. Yes. The middle-aged deacon bowed and walked into the mission hall. Lu Ming, I'm sure you have a rough idea of what happened. The Hall Master of Wind said. I have a rough idea. Lu Ming nodded and said, This time, you must be careful. The Heavenly Profound Branch Palace wants you to go with them. This is definitely the doing of the Sheng family. Moreover, the Sheng family wants to support the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace and eliminate the Heavenly Corpse sect. Even the Palace Master can't reject this. In the Central region, the Sheng family is extremely powerful. They just want you to go to the Central region. At that time, they can do whatever they want to you. The Hall Master of Wind said with a solemn expression. They won't ask a few seniors to kill me, right? Lu Ming asked. Of course not. Although the Sheng family is powerful, they still have scruples. However, The younger generation doesn't have such scruples. Moreover, it's impossible to guard against any schemes, the Hall Master of Wind said. Lu Ming nodded. The seniors wouldn't make a move openly. It was much easier to deal with the younger generation. Then, Lu Ming thanked the Hall Master of Wind. The Hall Master of Wind reminded Lu Ming to be careful and keep a low profile when he went to the Central Region. Chapter 504. The middle-aged deacon led Lu Ming to complete the mission procedures. Lu Ming, come to the mission hall tomorrow morning and meet up with the others. You will form the first batch of reinforcements and head to the mysterious Sky Branch Palace. There will be several batches of reinforcements heading to the mysterious Sky Branch Palace. The middle-aged deacon said, All right. Lu Ming nodded and left the mission hall, returning to the East Sky courtyard. Sitting cross-legged in the courtyard, Lu Ming's thoughts were flying. The Tianqian Branch Palace, the Sheng family. Senior Sister Mulan should also be in the Tianqian Branch Palace. All right, the Tianqian Branch Palace. Even if it is a dragon's lair or a tiger's den, I, Lu Ming, have to barge in. Immediately, Lu Ming continued to comprehend the fire concept. After this period of comprehension, the fire concept had almost reached the level of condensing concept runes. As long as the fire concept condensed concept runes, then the wind, fire, and thunder concepts would all condense concept runes. Lu Ming's battle strength would undoubtedly increase greatly. Moreover, he could cultivate the fourth level of the three ultimates of the dragon god. Beside a small lake, Mu Zheng stood with his hands behind his back. Mu Shiyuan stood beside him. Sixth uncle, the Sheng family is really fast. They actually used this method to recruit Lu Ming to the mysterious Sky Branch Palace. What should we do now? Mu Shiyuan said, The Sheng family's method is really brilliant. Even I can't refuse. Lu Ming going to the mysterious Sky Branch Palace is no doubt trespassing into a tiger's den. Mu Jing sighed. How about this, Shiyuan, you immediately head to the mysterious Sky Branch Palace and wait for an opportunity to take care of Lu Ming. Mu Zheng continued. All right, I will leave immediately. Mu Shiyuan nodded and his figure flashed, disappearing without a trace. In the Thunder Hall, the Thunder Hall master laughed wildly, extremely carefree. Haha, Lu Ming, when you reach the mysterious Sky Branch Palace, you still won't die. I will wait here for your good news. A day passed in the blink of an eye. The next morning, Lu Ming came to the mission hall. Some people had already gathered in the mission hall. Lu Ming swept his gaze over them. Among these people, there were men and women, old and young. However, they were all Martial King realm cultivators. Among them, there were a few whose auras were terrifyingly powerful and unfathomable. Small Success King. Those people were definitely kings at the small success stage. The number of people was still increasing. 10 minutes later, including Lu Ming, there were exactly 50 people in the mission hall. At this moment, an old man walked into the mission hall. Palace Master. Greetings, Palace Master. Everyone bowed respectfully. This old man was Palace Master Mu Zheng of the Eastern Palace of the Tianqian region. Mu Zheng revealed a gentle smile as he swept his gaze across the crowd. His gaze lingered on Lu Ming for a moment before he said, All right, now that the first batch of 50 people to head to the Tianqian Branch Palace has arrived, you can set off immediately. Remember, you must try your best to ensure your own safety in the process of killing the enemy. This old man will wait here for your return. Thank you, Asgard Master. We will definitely do our best to protect ourselves, and then kill as many enemies as we can to display the might of our eastern profound sky continent. Everyone replied. All right, let's go then. Mu Zheng waved his hand. Immediately after, Lu Ming and the rest bade farewell to Mu Zheng and set off for the Tianqian Branch Palace. The Tianqian Branch Palace was located in the central region of the Tianqian region. Its territory was boundless and it was 10 times larger than the eastern region of the Tianqian region. The spiritual qi of heaven and earth was extremely dense. There were many geniuses, and experts were as common as clouds. That place was the core of the Tianqian region. There was no doubt that the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace was the overlord there, and they controlled everything. There were also some small factions that relied on the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Within the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, there were 2 great clans that controlled everything. One was the Shang clan. The Shang clan had a long history, and they had already existed before the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. They were fully deserving of being the overlord of the Tianqian region. The other patriarch was the Mu clan. The current palace master of the Tianqian branch palace was the Mu clan's patriarch. The Mu clan could be said to be a rising clan in the Tianqian region. They had only risen for less than 100 years, but they were extremely powerful. The 2 great clans stood at the peak of the Tianqian region. The eastern region of the Tianqian region was extremely far from the Tianqian branch palace. Even if everyone was a martial king, it would still take them a month to reach the Tianqian branch palace. Everyone moved as fast as lightning towards the Tianqian branch palace. Among them, there were some who were smarter, and they guessed that the reason why Lu Ming was summoned to the Tianqian branch palace was most likely related to the Shang clan. Hence, they stayed far away from Lu Ming. Lu Ming was too lazy to care about them, and he continued on his journey. Every 3 days, everyone would stop to rest and recover their true yuan. Soon, half a month had passed. Everyone had already left the eastern region of the Tianqian region and entered the central region. However, there was still a long way to go before they could reach the Tianqian branch palace. On this night, everyone stopped in a valley. Someone lit a bonfire, caught a demonic beast, and roasted it. Lu Ming was alone at the side, and he also lit a bonfire. Then he rushed into a mountain and returned with a sturdy horned sheep. After cleaning the sheep, he started to roast it. Soon, a fragrant aroma filled the air. The horned sheep became glossy and shiny. Lu Ming took out a jar of wine and ate and drank alone. "Haha, good wine, really good wine. Brother Lu, can you let me, old Zhuang, have a taste of the meat and wine as well?" A tall and sturdy man with strong arms walked to the bonfire and grinned. "Of course, please." Lu Ming smiled. This man was called Zhuang Hong, and he was extremely powerful. He was one of the 3 kings in Lu Ming's group that had reached the king realm. However, he was honest and sincere and didn't have many thoughts. Along the way, he was the only one who would occasionally talk to Lu Ming. Zhuang Hong grinned, sat down, and tore off a leg of the horned sheep without any hesitation, and started to eat it. So fragrant, so fragrant. The meat is fat, but not greasy. Out of all the meat roasted by so many people, I still like Brother Lu's the most. Zhuang Hong's mouth was filled with oil as he praised loudly. Lu Ming smiled, and with a wave of his hand, a jar of wine appeared, and he threw it to Zhuang Hong. Zhuang Hong caught it, opened the lid, and took a big gulp. He praised, "Good wine, really good wine." "Please." Lu Ming smiled and started to eat as well. "Brother Lu, in fact, I, old Zhuang, really admire you. Even in the face of the Saint family, you can still hold your head high. You can say whatever you want and scold whatever you want. This is what a true martial artist is like. I, old Zhuang, admire you. Come, let me toast you." Zhuang Hong yelled as he ate. Lu Ming clinked glasses with Zhuang Hong and took a big gulp of the wine. "Brother Lu, I have faith in you. With your talent, I'm sure you'll be able to beat those arrogant geniuses of the Shang family in the future." Zhuang Hong yelled again. At this moment, Lu Ming frowned, and his face changed slightly. "There's a smell of blood," Lu Ming whispered. Zhuang Hong was dazed and said doubtfully, "Brother Lu, we killed so many demonic beasts just now. Of course there's a smell of blood. It's not the blood of demonic beasts, it's the blood of humans." Lu Ming said with a frown. The 9 dragons' bloodline had devoured a large amount of blood essence of humans and demonic beasts. Therefore, Lu Ming could easily distinguish the difference between the smell of blood of humans and demonic beasts. Ah. Chapter 505. Everyone's expression changed. That's Zhuqiu's voice. He went to hunt demonic beasts. What happened? What danger did he encounter? Someone yelled. Ah. At this moment, another scream was heard. It's Xiao Er. He is also hunting demonic beasts. Someone exclaimed, Let's go and take a look. Someone yelled. Then 7 or 8 voices flew in that direction. They stood high in the sky and looked down. However, it was night after all. Their vision was obstructed and they could not see clearly. Then they flew down. The next moment, screams were heard. In just a few breaths, there were no more sounds. 7 or 8 experts of the martial king realm had suddenly disappeared. There are enemies. Gather together. Quick, don't be defeated one by one. A few shouts were heard. It was the other 2 martial kings. Lu Ming and Zhuang Hong also gathered together. 40 or so people gathered together. What on earth is there? 8 martial kings were taken care of so quickly. Someone said solemnly, Rustle, rustle. At this moment, everyone heard a rustling sound. It was particularly eerie in the forest at night. What's that? Everyone focused their attention, opened their eyes wide, and looked around. Oh no, it's under our feet. Lu Ming suddenly yelled. What? The others were stunned. Bang! Suddenly, under the feet of one of the Di Tian divine guards, a pitch-black beast claw stretched out and grabbed one of the Di Tian divine guard's feet. What's that? The Di Tian divine guard yelled in horror. He was a mid-stage martial king realm expert. At this moment, he exerted all his strength and slashed at the beast claw with his saber. However, an astonishing scene happened. When the saber slashed at the beast claw, it was as if it had slashed at some kind of hard steel. The sound of metal clashing could be heard. It could not be cut. Roar! A beast roar came from underground. The beast claw tore off one of the Di Tian divine guard's legs. The Di Tian divine guard screamed and fell to the ground. The next moment, another beast claw reached out and grabbed at the young man's head. The Di Tian divine guard scream came to an abrupt end. All this happened in the blink of an eye. When everyone reacted, the Di Tian divine guard was already dead. What demonic beast is that? Die! At the side, a few Di Tian divine guards roared as they launched violent attacks at the demonic beast. Boom! After a few booms, a large crater was blasted into the ground, but there was no trace of the demonic beast. Ah! Suddenly, another scream came from another direction. A first-layer martial king, realm, Empyrean divine guard was clawed to death by a beast claw that reached out from the ground. What kind of demonic beast is this? Why can't I sense any aura? Someone shouted in shock. Corpse. That's the corpse of a demonic beast. There's no sign of life. Finally, someone discovered the truth. Demonic beast corpse? Everyone was shocked. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, a sharp sound of something breaking through the air rang out. Black shadows shot towards them from all directions. It was faster than an arrow. Be careful! A loud roar resounded, and everyone burst out with powerful Jinyuan. Their bodies were suffused with all kinds of lights, and one light after another burst out. Boom! Boom! With a loud explosion, those black shadows were sent flying back. That is... Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He could clearly see that those black shadows were actually black chains. They are from the Heavenly Corpse sect. Lu Ming shouted, What, the Heavenly Corpse sect? How did the Heavenly Corpse sect know that we are here? Someone yelled in disbelief. Although their departure was not a secret, the route they took first was very secretive. Not many people knew about it. How did the Heavenly Corpse sect find them? Was it a coincidence? Ha ha! I didn't expect the people from the eastern part of the Tianqian domain to recognize us so quickly. How unexpected. A cold voice came from the forest in the distance. Whoosh! Whoosh! Then the crowd saw coffins flying out from the surrounding forest. These coffins were of different sizes, and they floated in the air, blocking their escape route. There were at least 100 of them. Crack! These coffins opened, and figures walked out one after another. Refined corpses. The first to walk out were all refined corpses. Their faces were pale, and there was a hint of black in their paleness. Their bodies were wrapped with black chains. Apart from these human-shaped, refined corpses, there were also beast-shaped ones. Roar! A few demonic beasts that looked like black panthers with red eyes and fangs in their mouths roared. However, there was no sign of life on them. They were all refined corpses. Other than human corpses, demonic beast corpses could also be refined into refined corpses. The refined corpses of demonic beasts were called demonic corpses. Obviously, the ones that were hiding underground and launching a sneak attack were these demonic corpses. Following closely behind these refined corpses were pale-faced zombie guards in black robes. There were more than 200 refined corpses and close to 100 corpse guards. Haha! It is not a waste that we have been lying in ambush here for a few days. With 50 Martial King corpses, we can refine 50 powerful refined corpses. One of the corpse guards sneered. How is this possible? How did you know that we would pass by here? How did you ambush us in advance? One of the divine guards shouted in disbelief. Haha! Since you are about to die, there is no harm in telling you. Of course, someone informed us. One of the corpse guards sneered. What? Everyone was shocked. There was a traitor. A traitor leaked their information to the Heavenly Corpse sect. Damn it, who is it? Someone roared. Could it be the Shun clan? Lu Ming's mind raced. His first suspicion was the Shun clan. They knew that he was in this group and wanted to use the Heavenly Corpse sect to get rid of him. However, was it necessary to sacrifice the lives of the other 49 divine guards? This was too ruthless. Haha, go to hell. Close to 100 corpse guards began to control the refined corpses. More than 200 refined corpses were surging with corpse chi and emitting a powerful aura. King level. These refined corpses were all king level corpses. 9 of them had extremely powerful auras. They were all at the king level. Everyone's expression changed drastically. This was a terrifying force. 9 king level refined corpses. About 200 refined corpses from the first to the third layer of the Martial King realm, and close to 100 corpse guards. This force was several times stronger than Lu Ming's. In order to deal with them, the Heavenly Corpse sect had sent out so many experts. This was a sure kill. Lu Ming and the others didn't even have a chance to escape. With such a great disparity in strength, it was impossible to escape. Lu Ming's expression became extremely solemn. Go! Team up and charge in the same direction. Zhuang Hong roared and rushed to the west first. Go, go! The other 2 king-level corpses cooperated with Zhuang Hong and rushed in that direction.